The intention of justice is to see that the guilty people are proven guilty and that the innocent are freed. Only we have a problem here.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are taking a look at this case from a psychological perspective.
Fun. Everybody was having a good time.
Does Brian Albert strike you as the kind of guy who's always having fun? No. And here's a news flash for this judge. Mental health professionals have solutions. Because that's the moment for him when he really started to believe that his mother was involved. Right? Closes his eyes because he's now remembering. There is a huge psychological component to what was going on here. And according to this group, Brian Albert Jr. gets like the most celebrated birthday hour of anybody ever. Like every 30 seconds, someone's like, happy birthday! Right? She's trying to lump Colin into that earlier group.
Somebody jumps in as a journalist, draws attention to it, in a light that is not good for the prosecution. I mean, and there are serious allegations of corruption in the DA's office, in the state police.
Oh my God, it's not like his 21st birthday.
He's literally making the case for why he was terminated. He's sitting there in front of his parents having text messages.
Definitely someone should give you a gun and a badge.
Horrible text messages read back as if he's the aggrieved party.
Hold on, have each of you been called murderers?
Who wants to be the one to give Matt the bad news?
I wanted to prove or to demonstrate.
I don't know where the dog was. I didn't hear any barking. Her name is Sunny. She was named after Santino Corleone. Here's Sunny. Say hi, everybody. There's my Sunny. Hello. That's my Sunny. Sunny barks if you walk by my window and sneeze. You're not really going to deny this, are you? What is far more common is anger.
So that whatever discovery I was requesting, I would get at some point in a timely fashion and then turn it over.
Know if we had it enough, or we had it all, I should say.
And to the family room, where Brian Higgins and Brian Albert are looking at old photos of Brian Sr. In this case, the thing he had to encourage her to do was not to testify.
You know, and Julia Albert responds to the text message from John, and she goes, my biggest fear in life is ending up on Turtle Boy.
Stop it.
Oh, you never seen that? Oh, I gotta get you that. Let me. Oh yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, I gotta dig that up.
God save the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
People are terrified of him. They're absolutely terrified of him. And how do we know that? We know that from the mega motion. Just another day for me, right? Which means it was just not an ordinary day for somebody else. Just when you thought you were out, they pull you back.
Karen Reed plots, she fabricates a conspiracy.
I am just a person who likes to understand. That's going to increase the likelihood that we're going to take some action.
Here she is.
Gotcha. Okay, so your sister.
My sister Jillian, yes.
Oh, it's funny. But then he's got part of his shirt untucked. His back pocket is kind of hanging out.
You have to buy that. So you have to buy that. So.
And showing solidarity, you can see them there.
It's about getting justice for John O'Keefe. There clearly is an issue of integrity.
How dare they?
Justice for all. Only we have a problem here.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the I Don't Belong Here show, and I am your host, Samantha Beningo. I am a behavioral scientist, a career psychotherapist, a sixth-year PhD candidate in clinical psychology, a master's level psychologist and counselor. And tonight, man, we have a lot to talk about. It has been a crazy day, things unfolding all day. I did not have time to keep up with it all. So I'm glad that my very special guest tonight and I did not sit down and make a plan for our discussion because it would have all gone straight out the window. So let's bring on Ms. Melanie Little. Yay!
Hi! Hello! Hello!
Oh, it's so wonderful that you are here with me tonight. I'm so excited. You have no idea.
Me too. Me too. I love that you have a cat named after a character from The Godfather because I always say to my audience, I say, I love you with all of my heart. If I don't see you soon, I'm going to die. And
I
that is
know
from
it. I have heard it, of course. So Sunny is actually a 5-pound dog, believe it or not.
Oh,
And
it was a little
it
tiny
looked
thing on my
like a
screen. I
cat.
was like, look, maybe he's a cat. I don't know.
Looks like a cat.
Sorry, Sonny. I didn't mean to insult you. Don't put a horse's head in my bed.
Oh,
Okay?
that's very funny. Yes, yes, we are very Godfather friendly here, so I get it all the way. Oh, there's so much, Melanie. So first I have to tell you, because, oh my God, like I started, so this channel, probably the truth is, wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you, because I know it's really true. Because my first entree into live trials was the very first Karen Reed trial. And I started like right at the firefighters, like after the first week. And I have a lot of knowledge about a lot of things, but not law. None, zero, nothing. So
You have a lot now.
right, I know. Well, I was losing my mind. I'm like, is this what it's supposed to look like? Are judges really like this? Like, and you were my saving grace. I watched every single day, all through the first trial, and it taught me so much. So I am so forever indebted to you. You're amazing and offer such a consistent presence and service to all of us because it's true, right? Like for us that are just novices with the law, like where do you go to get the information? You just don't know, right? So
yeah,
you guys are huge. You are like, you know, just so,
but I guess the question is, where did you watch the second trial?
Well, so that's a great question.
Did you cheat on me for the second trial?
That's a great question. Second trial, I just watched the trial.
Yeah,
straight up.
You've already seen the first season, so
right.
You knew
and
what
I
was going to happen.
Fast. I was like trying to get through it quick, right?
I know.
The second trial, I was working. I was like picking. I was working, so I didn't have time to sit and listen all day, which is really what happened.
Yeah.
So, but I also felt capable of understanding what was going on for the second trial because of you. That's true.
Oh, I'm so glad.
So very true.
I'm here to help.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I mean, okay, so much to say, so much happened today.
Yeah.
It was like unfolding throughout the day.
In real time.
And I guess the first thing to kind of start with would be the Aiden, right? The charges dropped by the DA.
The charges for his 2024 case. So he's got, I think he's got 3 cases that are still pending. 2024 case is the charges in which Lindsay Gattani was the victim,
right?
From that incident that happened at her apartment when she was texting with maybe Tully and Mello and Kate Peter,
right?
And he went over to her apartment because she said she got served with that grand jury subpoena. That was the incident that forced him to go to jail,
right?
For
had his bail
days.
Revoked, right?
Yeah, because of what she lied about him pushing her and whatever.
Right.
And the wiretapping. So it was like a witness intimidation charge and a wiretapping charge. Michael Marcy signed off and discontinued both of those that entire case today. They couldn't find a prosecutor. They had 2 more days to find one. And the judge said, you got to come back within 30 days with a new prosecutor, but they couldn't. Cosgrove had to drop out because he's conflicted because Lindsay is suing him now. But Lindsay's also suing Tully. And Tully is like a main witness in the other case the 2023 case with all of the McCabe's and Alberts as alleged victims.
Mhm.
And so they're going to have a problem there too.
I mean, Tully is like involved in every aspect of that case, right? I mean, we know from the mega motion and we know from all those emails, the personal emails from Morrissey, that he was on every email. Tully.
Everything. And he signed off on the search warrant. He testified in front of the grand jury.
Yes.
And also Lindsay
Right.
is going to be a witness for those cases too.
Yeah.
Because they served her with a grand jury subpoena to come in to testify in front of a grand jury in that case. So they can't say she's not a witness.
Right.
They gave her the grand jury subpoena.
So what are they going to do? What do they do?
They're going to have to drop that too, or they're going to have to find another prosecutor that's willing to take it. But good luck with that.
And how do you do that? I mean, you just pick any lawyer? How do you find a prosecutor willing to do it?
What they usually do is open up their little black book of friends and they hire their friend. I mean, how do you think they got Brennan? Brennan was probably referred to them by, I don't know. I'm sure the emails we're going to find out, but rumor has it, it may have been, maybe the Alberts or the McCabe's who suggested hiring Hank Brennan. And, they needed a mob lawyer. He's a mob lawyer. They get a mob lawyer. Cosgrove is a retired judge from Norfolk County.
Right.
But it's not really they're not really independent because typically they are friends of the DA who hires them, which is so ridiculous. That whole entire system needs to be reformed.
Definitely.
But they could refer it out to another county, to another DA in another county. But I mean, we'll see if they really, really, really want to get Turtle Boy. And are the Alberts and McCabe's going to really push it? Or is Marcy going to be like, I'm already not going to be reelected. I could be disbarred. Who knows what's in those emails and text messages and photos and Proctor's phone.
Right.
And maybe I ought to just drop this one too.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the other thing. I didn't even think about that. So if you were to go to a different prosecutor's office in a different county, the thing about that is they would also see what we see and have to have their reputation then on the line in the same way.
Right.
So it's
so they'd have to want to ethically feel like they could prosecute.
Yeah.
And why did they have to hire Hank Brennan? Because no other ADA in the office would touch it with a 10-foot pole. They have really good trial lawyers in the office. They've got at least, I don't know how many attorneys on staff now, at least 50.
Wow.
Greg Connor is the top guy. He was like, yeah, no, I'm not touching that. And so, Lally had to do it the first time, like with his little backpack on his back, like just going to work.
He's too much.
And then they had to hire the mob lawyer and pay him over $500,000 to do it.
Yeah.
He's out of there too. He's like, I'm done. And poor Lally's making $149 a year. I mean, I just saw something on Instagram that said in order to live comfortably in Massachusetts, it's the #1 state. It's the most expensive state to live in. For a family of 4, you have to make $301,000 a year to live comfortably in Massachusetts.
Really?
That is, according to Instagram, that is
wow. It doesn't surprise me. I live in New York City, so I'm sure it's probably comparable. But yeah.
But he's been practicing law for 20 years, this guy.
Crazy. It's crazy. Well, and interesting, at the end of the day, Lally actually did a much better job, apparently, than Brennan, right?
Right. I mean, he got some of the jurors to have, questions. At least the jury hung. This one was like a straight up acquittal.
Yeah.
Except for, when they tossed in that DUI charge that wasn't even there to begin with.
Right.
To give them something.
Right. Yeah.
But,
to give them something. That's right. Yeah. Wow. Yes. So what do you think? I mean, do these charges on their face, they have to, they're not going to be able to bring the case, right? It can't be somebody in the DA's office. I mean, that they've basically acknowledged that by dropping these cases.
Well, they have a conflict clearly in that case because Lindsay has now sent a letter to Morrissey saying, I'm going to sue you.
Right.
So they can't, because in the case against Aiden, they would have to hold Lindsay up as being a very credible witness. And then they also have to make her look like a complete liar in the case that she has against them. So it's an unwaivable conflict. I don't know how they're going to get around it. But the only case that they discontinued today was the one with Lindsay. So we'll see. There's that other window intimidation case, I call it, where he was outside the window of D&E Pizza with Will the Glare,
making and whatever, all that. Yeah.
Making the T-Rex arms. And that one I don't think involves Lindsay, but
Yeah, that one's another one. Absolutely absurd. Okay. So, and that was left. Where is that left? I remember they were in front of Judge Krupp, if I remember correctly, right? And
Yeah.
he didn't seem as inclined to think that it was going to require Cosgrove to recuse himself, right? That was kind of what I remember happening last.
I'm watching so many cases in front of Krupp right now, so now I'm conflating them all in my
Oh,
head. But
no.
they're going back on December 5th, and so December 5th is the day they're going to argue the mega motion. And I think December
Oh,
5th also. I was talking to Betterow today, and I'm not sure if there is pending a motion to recuse on that case or not. But they said they were going to make one, and also they're moving to have it dismissed. So
right.
maybe Krupp will dismiss it, and then Marcy doesn't have to, and then all the McCabe's and Alberts can't go after Marcy. They can just be mad at the judge. I don't know. We'll see.
I don't know.
It could be like a parachute, like a way
Will
out of
it
it.
be Krupp? Is it going to be officially Krupp that hears it on the 5th?
It was supposed to be Doolin, and I think
Right.
Krupp is on the calendar now. It's so weird the way they do it there, because in New York, once you file an RJI, your case gets assigned to a judge, and that's your judge for your whole case. That's your judge through trial. In Massachusetts, they do this weird thing where they rotate them in and out every couple of months, which is so weird because the judge doesn't know the case, and then you're going to argue a motion in front of a judge that knows nothing about your case. And even the appellate judges there admit they don't read the papers. It's so weird. It's like the Inside Out, upside down.
It
Narnia.
really is. What is wrong with Massachusetts? How did this happen? Right?
Yeah, well, they've been, burning and hanging witches since 1692. So, I mean, really, it tracks, right?
Yeah, well, in Boston, right? I mean, I guess Boston has always kind of been known as being a
Salem.
corrupt place, period, right?
I mean, we see it everywhere. Today, I covered a bunch of cases in Oklahoma. I mean, Oklahoma's really bad. Arkansas is really bad. You see it in a lot of cases. I think in New York, we have it too, but people here are so vocal and loud that they don't get away with it. But, out here in Suffolk County, I mean, our DA and our chief of police went to prison back in 2010. And that's why the Long Island serial killer was never found, because they had their own shenanigans going on. So, I mean, it happens everywhere, but the Karen Reed case really blew it wide open. And isn't it so funny that the guy that they're trying so hard to shut up is going to be the guy who now blows it wide open? And think of the story he's going to have after that. He's going to need like a whole entire series, several seasons. Like you can't even tell the Aiden Carney Turtle Boy story in one episode. A 2-hour movie is not long enough.
No, to me, the mega motion, first of all, was just a masterpiece. And it was so amazing that Jennifer McCabe was on him. He wrote one story about them, one. And they immediately wanted to have him shut down. Immediately. It's unbelievable.
Do something.
Yeah. They're terrified of him. Clearly terrified of him.
It was such a setup. Did you follow Donna Adelson at all?
Yes,
the
very
bump?
much so.
The bump?
Yes.
That was the bump. That grand jury summons to Lindsay was the bump, because they knew his triggers. They knew how he would react. They knew they could get him to do something. And maybe she had to embellish it a little bit. I don't know. And then therefore they could put him in jail. Do something. Okay, we'll do something. Let's give him a bump or a nudge. Maybe.
Yeah. How much of that do you think was enabled by the O'Keefe family being, I'm not sure what the right way to say it is, but being, on the side of believing for whatever reason that Karen was guilty?
I don't think the O'Keefe family had anything to do with it, to be honest with you. I really don't. I think that they're just, unfortunately, victims. I mean, they're victims. They lost their son and their brother and the father, the surrogate father of those two children. Tragically, they lost their daughter and then their son and their son-in-law. And it's tragic what happened to them.
Unbelievable.
And I don't think they had anything to do with it. I think it had to do with, some very powerful people who wanted to control the narrative and who needed to control the narrative for whatever reason. And I think it all remains to be seen. I think that they were, in a sense, I don't want to say brainwashed, but they were led to believe certain things by certain people, who were talkers.
Oh, yeah.
Who got in there right away.
Absolutely.
Right in their ear right away.
Right. Yep. That's exactly right. Ms. Jennifer McCabe was pretty good at controlling the narrative within seconds of this happening. I mean, immediately.
Badinsky,
Seems to be her
She was a curtain twitcher too. The way her and Matt were looking out seeing exactly where the car was. You know, they're both curtain twitching in different parts of the house the entire time. Well, first she was here, then she was there, then she was there.
Right.
You know, and her whole phone call. There's a man pissed out in the snow.
Oh, the phone
There's a
call.
man pissed out in the snow. You've known this guy for 10 years. He's like your bestie. Never once did she say, officer down.
It's
You had fun
unbelievable.
with that phone call. That was
The 911 call was unbelievable. It was when it was there for so long, and it took me a very long time to go back and listen to it all the way through. And then I almost died. I was like, oh my God, this is like a full admission. This whole thing is like, it's amazing.
I think he's dead.
3 times. 3 times.
She said that 3 times. I think he's dead.
Times.
How would she know?
Right?
Oh, that's right. Because she Googled how long to die in the cold. So she knew how long it would take to die in the cold.
Yes.
And he had been there for that period of time.
And the fact that she's calling Brian Albert at the exact same time as she's Googling it again, Googling how long to die in the cold again. It's like, these people. So this is, and that was something I wanted to ask you. You see so many cases. I mean, you have looked at so many cases. Where do you think the insanity level of the Karen Read case, when you think about the fact these people and the lying and the manipulating and the insanity, how often do you see things of that caliber even?
Never. This 2 trials. Like they were so confident. Listen, I've been a lawyer for over 30 years. I'm a civil litigator. I've handled thousands of car accident cases and dog bite cases. And so what got me interested in this case was I have seen pedestrian accidents, many, many pedestrian accidents. I have recovered hundreds of millions of dollars for my clients, okay? I have never, ever, ever, ever in my career seen a motor vehicle versus pedestrian accident that did not have any injuries below the waist, bumper marks, bruising, something. Impossible. It's impossible. If you hit somebody at 24 miles an hour in their elbow, you are going to shatter their elbow or rip off their arm. It's impossible. And so I started covering, and then I'm like, and this arm? What is with this arm? Like, that's clearly an animal attack of some kind. And they asked me to come on Court TV when I first started covering the case in January 2024, before I even started covering it on my channel. And who did they put me up with except Jennifer Coffendorfer? And Jennifer Coffendorfer is like, oh, you know, everybody thinks, everybody who's not a doctor thinks that they know what these injuries are. This is clearly caused by the tail light. And she had a whole theory, and she tried to make me look like an idiot. So I'm like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to find a dog bite expert. Let me find a dog bite expert. And I got Garrett Wing to come on my show, and I did that show with him. And it's so obvious. And she's I don't know.
Something.
People say she was paid by the DA's office to spin her web on Twitter, and I'm not even on Twitter. And as of like yesterday, she's still saying shit about me on Twitter. Like, girl, give it a rest.
Oh my God, these
you
people.
You lost.
I mean,
but I'm a liar. I'm a liar because I read court documents and analyze testimony. Oh.
I don't even know what to say about it. I still can't understand when you have a conversation with any of those folks and you try to say, well, what is it? Where's the evidence that you're looking at that's telling you that Karen Read did this? Nothing comes out. There's no words that come out.
The taillight.
No, but the taillight.
Taillight.
Come on.
They have hundreds of thousands of things to go through on Proctor's phone. The thing that's taking them the longest is the photographs. Oh, what if there's a photograph of the taillight?
Yes. What if
he snapped a photo of that taillight? And I remember something happened during the trial where
what if
there was like, did anybody send you a picture of the taillight? I don't know. This just came to me now. And he was like, no, nobody ever sent me a picture of it or something like that. Like, what if there is a picture of it? This is going to lead to it could lead to federal evidence tampering charges for people, planting evidence charges. Like, this is, we haven't even seen like the encore yet. This is going to be like a double encore. And then we're going to get to do the show all over again. And it's going to be 3 sets with no break, no intermission. It's going to be wild. It's going to be wild. And so many people warned me about, they're like, stay away from this case. You don't want to touch Karen Read. You don't want to talk about the case. I'm like,
really?
I know what I know. And I know that man was not hit by a car.
No.
And I know. And I started covering it when Turtle Boy was in jail. I didn't know anything about Turtle Boy.
Oh,
I had never
interesting.
watched his show. I didn't know anything about him. And then people were like, this guy Turtle Boy knows everything about Karen Reed, but he wasn't around because he was in the pokey. So I started covering it, and I didn't even speak to Aiden until, I don't know, well after the first trial, I think. We met for the first time at a fundraiser before the second trial, and that was it.
Wow.
Proctor's Googling Vietnam. He's like, they're going to arrest him on the plane, getting on the plane to Vietnam. You think his wife, you think Lizzie's going to go with him? What do you think?
Oh, I don't think so.
The over under on that.
I think it's pretty over between them. I'm pretty sure at this point. I think that's probably pretty
Did
over.
she ever get her gift?
Yeah.
What do you think the gift was going to be? What do you think the gift was going to be?
I don't think there's a gift worth this one. This is, in a way, I don't feel bad, certainly for Michael Proctor, but a way I feel bad because they are making him the fall guy so clearly that if I'm him at this point, what do you have to lose? Just tell the truth, bro. Just go in, tell the truth.
Well, he should have thought about that maybe like, I don't know, 6 months ago, before he had to try and get his job back. Maybe he could have worked that into his deal. Like, listen, I'll tell you everything I know. Just give me my job back. And maybe that would have been a bargaining chip for him. But now, I mean,
well, that's what I mean.
When you ain't got nothing, you ain't got nothing to lose. That's the scary. That's the scary time.
Right. So, and it looks like, because at first I couldn't figure out, okay, why did he, is it because of the text messages that he decided it's too embarrassing, it's all going to come out? But it looks like what happened was the union pulled their support. So he didn't have a lawyer. And then because they were no longer supporting him, he really couldn't win.
That's why they were no longer supporting him, because of what happened, because of what was in his phone, because all that stuff was turned over to them on Friday.
Right.
And his lawyer must have went through it. And I mean, could you imagine hundreds of thousands? He probably just got to page 2 and he's like, you son of a bitch, you've been lying to me. I can't represent you anymore. And then he turns it over to the union and they're like, hell no, we're not paying for you. I mean, first of all, it is so hard to get fired from the state police.
Right.
It's so hard.
Right.
Like, congratulations, Proctor. You did it.
Right.
Here's a trophy. And then the two most powerful unions in the United States are the teachers and the state police. For the state police union leader to come out and publicly bash you and call you an embarrassment to the force, and we hope we can put this embarrassing chapter behind us.
Yeah.
I mean, bravo, sir. Bravo. Well done. You get 2 medals for that.
Makes you wonder, right? Like,
so
what
hard.
the hell is going to be on those, in all that? It's going to be bad. It's going to be really bad. So that's the other thing I wanted to ask. If they did find something like photos of the taillight or something that was discovery that was not obviously turned over in the Karen Reed case, what kind of recourse do you have? What happens?
Well, Greg Connor, in his papers, he said, we have things here that we will be turning over to independent law enforcement agencies. I don't know what he meant by that. Did he mean the FBI? Did he mean internal affairs? Did he mean, so that leads me to believe there's something. And so the recourse for Karen Reed is going to be that stuff's all going to be discoverable in her civil case. And if she sues for violation of her civil rights, all that's going to be relevant, you know, to malicious prosecution, false arrest, just name them. Violation of civil rights, due process, all of them, all the rights that Massachusetts doesn't want anybody to have. And it could also help Turtle Boy. It could help, and it could lead to criminal charges too.
Well, and it also could let all these other people, I mean, who knows, even in the Miles King case, I mean, it looks like people that are even maybe potentially guilty in terms of the evidence may wind up walking too.
Because of his bias, you know? And like, do you think that was the first time he was looking for nudes in Karen Reed's phone?
No.
Have you seen Anna Walsh? Gorgeous,
yes,
stunning model. Like, I mean, so was Katie McLean, who was the wife of Harry Turk. He's already been convicted, but who knows? Like, what if they were looking for nudes all the time in every single phone they ever searched, and they have a whole file of nudes that they passed around to everyone? I mean, I'm just, in my opinion, hypothesizing, spitballing with Samantha.
It could be.
Could be.
He actually, so in his report, in the detailed report of him, he actually told the person that was doing the investigation, what was his name? Kevin something, I think his name was it Kevin? I can't remember his name off the top of my head. But he actually did say that it was standard practice, that that's something that is done as standard practice.
That they look for nudes?
That they run across them.
Oh.
It's standard practice
I
to
didn't
run
remember that.
across them. So he didn't say we go looking, but he said that, these are things that we commonly come across in phones that we confiscate.
I must have missed that, because I would have had comedy for days with that, because
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I had just read that, not probably 2 months ago. I read the full through of the report on Proctor, and I was outraged. I was so angry because they really gave him a pass on a lot of things and only called him out on like you were saying, it's got to be very difficult to get fired. They never actually went to try to investigate any of his claims. They just took him at his word, so they kind of sanctioned or greenlit a lot of what all of us would agree was just egregious misconduct on his part and on the part of the state police.
Yeah. And him and Kevin Albert going down the Cape to investigate a cold case, and then dude, where's my gun?
It's funny,
dude,
nobody
where's my
ever
gun?
tells you like what is that cold case that just happens to be in the same town that Brian Higgins lives in Cape Cod.
The cold case of beers.
Right.
That's what it was. It's the only cold case they were chasing. Come on. And then, he's driving. So then that was one of the reasons he got fired, was for that drunk,
Right.
They couldn't prove he was drunk because, nobody ever took his BAC. Just like they didn't take Karen's BAC, by the way.
Right.
But, that was one of the reasons for termination.
Yes. Thank God, actually, for that, right? Because it had to have been something horrific. Otherwise, they weren't going to let him go. They weren't. You're like you said. Thank God they fired him. But it's very possible to have this new, what's his name? What is the new police colonel's name?
Oh, Noble, Jeffrey Noble.
Noble. It's possible if Noble hadn't come in that he would still be there. It's possible.
I don't know. I mean, it's like, this is like the series that you can't wait for what's going to happen next, and it's like they're dropping all the episodes in one day. It's like today I felt like I love the morning show, and like I was so excited. I stayed up till midnight last night and I was going to watch it, and I'm like, I'm going to save it for tomorrow. And I still haven't watched it yet. So I have that saved up, for today, because it comes out only every week.
Yeah.
But sometimes they drop a whole season at once and you got to like severance through it. I don't know if that was once a week or at the whole time, but it was like 3 episodes dropped today between the Aiden's charges. I mean, because that was the last thing to happen.
I know. And then Karen had her response. She has the civil response that happened.
Yeah,
that was
nothing
a lot.
exciting there.
Nothing exciting there.
Boilerplate,
something to just that happened.
Right.
Then also there's this public documents from Ms. Dever.
Oh yeah.
So
there was an email to Michael Cox in February of 2024 saying, from the FBI. And what is so interesting, I just noticed this before I came on. The FBI agent that sent it to Michael Cox, his name was Stephen Kelleher.
Yeah.
The guy across the street from 34 Fairview, his name was Tom Kelleher, and he was the acting chief of Canton PD. He's the guy who had ring cameras pointed right at 34 Fairview, who went through his own ring cameras and said, yeah, nothing to see here. Yeah. Nothing interesting in my ring cams.
Right.
Kelleher, I don't know. Common name, a lot of Irish up there, right? I think it's Irish. But and he said it was February of 2024, and the email to Cox said something like, here's the documents that we're giving the DA. It's regarding Kelly Dever. And that was right at the time that they turned over all of those, what they call TUI documents, from the feds to the defense and Lally.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, they would have all known each other, right? I mean, because they were the feds in Boston, but they're in the same county. So the feds would have known the Norfolk County DA's office. They would have all had relationships, right?
I mean, maybe. It depends. I mean, I don't know how often they interact. Like, I know that those state troopers are specifically assigned to the Norfolk DA's office. So Michael Proctor's been a trooper since 2012. And the entire time, I think for the entire time, he's been assigned to the Norfolk DA's office. So they've been working together for 13 years, him and Lally. So God, imagine the secrets that those two have, or maybe not. I mean, in Miles King, they were arguing over search warrants that hadn't been turned over for 6 years.
Right.
And it was Proctor and it was Lally, and Lally was getting skewered by Rosemary Scapiccio on her barbecue, and Krupp just pulled the plug on that hearing.
Yeah. Yep.
I still want to know what Lally has to say about that.
Yeah.
He's like,
Well,
I
I
don't know.
actually
I don't
went
know.
back today and did some kind of just deception detection on Lally. Oh, he's lying. He's intentionally deceptive from the jump, basically at go during that hearing. So I mean, there's all different ways, that
Yeah.
he's tries to get around answering questions, doesn't use pronouns at all when he
Oh,
responds.
interesting.
Yeah,
He just
there's
said, I don't
it's
know a
very
lot.
shady. Very, very
I don't
shady.
know. I don't know. I don't know. And that's never an answer. As a lawyer, I know that's never an answer because I prep my clients to testify and I prep them for depositions. And the answer is never, I don't know. It's, I don't recall, which means like you don't recall right now, but you might recall later.
Mhm.
But I don't know is not, it's not a good answer.
Yeah,
Because
or
it's
he
like, I
was
don't know and I never knew.
or
Right?
he was answering like, well, it would have been, my process would have been. It's like, well, if that's an intellectual response, that's not an actual memory of what happened, right? So I mean, I think that's a whole nother discussion with the discovery and just the way that this entire group mishandled or handled discovery materials, search warrants. It just seemed like standard operating procedure with these people.
And like, where were the grave concerns about that?
Right.
You know, like Canoni with her grave concerns.
Canoni.
About what? About Alan
Oh.
Jackson texting Crash Daddy Dr. Wolf about coming in to testify? She has grave concerns, so much so that she has like palpitations and has to leave the bench and like go off and like phone a friend. Like, I don't even know what she was visibly shaking, right? And then it comes out that all of this missing Sallyport video magically surfaces after trial number 1 is over. And she says that Proctor had it in a drawer in her order. She never holds an evidentiary hearing. And there's no grave concerns about that.
There's an inverted video that they try to pass off as a non-inverted video.
Should have been a mistrial. I can't wait for those sidebars to get released if
Oh,
ever,
no.
because I bet you they move for a mistrial. And she's like, no.
Oh my God. I cannot wait for those sidebars. I cannot wait. Do you think we'll get those? Do you think they're going to fight to try to keep those away from us?
Oh no. Corey Hopkins, who's an attorney,
I
she's
saw.
amazing. Marbury versus Matt, I think is her Twitter name. She filed a lawsuit to get them released. And she is like, she's not letting it go. Like, she corresponds with me a lot. She's amazing. I love her. Shout out to Corey if she's watching. She's doing the Lord's work out there, man. She files lawsuits that are like 100 pages long. She's like, I'm getting these. She's the one who got the Michael Cox email and a FOIA request.
I know.
And
I've just
she's
discovered her.
wicked smart. And she's from, like the Carolinas, that area. And she has no fear. She's like, I'm doing it. She's spending her own money. She's like, and we'll see what happens. I mean, under the public records law, I mean, they got to be released.
That is going to be really a big day. That is going to be a very big moment in time when those get released. We're all going to be incredibly busy.
It's going to be like the Epstein files. We're all going to be like frantically reading. Okay, you do 1 through 10. I'll read the rest.
Oh my God, 2 trials. 2 trials. Think about all the sidebars that went on. Oh my God.
I feel like they were like every 5 minutes.
They were every 5 minutes. Oh, she's going to be, maybe still waiting for her to retire.
Retire, yeah.
My goodness. That's the other thing I noticed. It doesn't appear to me that these judges appreciate any public attention. It seems like, like even in the Kelsey Fitzsimmons case, seems like she's kind of being punished for having supporters. Does that?
Did you hear that? There was a really like a mean man judge. Bradel was told it was supposed to be a phone conference at one of the last hearings, and this judge was like, "Where are you? Get down here. There's too many people that are interested in this case. You have I forget the word he used, but he's like, our phone system can't handle it. There's because they didn't have Zoom for this. They had it was like a party line.
Yeah.
It was like a conference call.
Right. For like 10 people.
Only 10 people.
Yeah.
And you overloaded so we'll go to trial next week on this. We'll go to trial next week. And he's like, we don't have any discovery judge. Like, what? They don't want anybody coming to Salem.
No.
That's in Salem. And they're not used to this kind of attention.
No.
And I think that judge was very put off by all of the people that showed up in the courtroom. So shout out to you guys, your boots on the ground, purple shirt people. They don't like it.
They do not like it. Absolutely not. No. And it made me realize that, is there just these judges, they just have the ultimate ruling authority, right? I mean, there's nothing in place that, right? Like there's no guardrails.
Well, there's an appellate court, but they have very wide judicial discretion. So
Right.
really, appellate courts are very hesitant to overturn judges because judges have such wide discretion, you know? Like Canoni used to say that all the time. As you know, I have very wide discretion here. You know, everything's up to me. I'm the be all end all. It's like, you know, it's like The Handmaid's Tale in so many ways. Do you watch The Handmaid's Tale?
Oh, of
I was
course.
like, this is
Yes.
like Gilead. This is
It's
like
like
we're in
Gilead.
Gilead. Like,
Oh,
what's happening
God.
here?
Oh,
We should have all shown up with like the red cloaks on and the hoods and the muzzles over. Like it's like something out of a movie. And so appellate courts are hesitant to overturn trial court judges, but those are the guardrails.
That's it.
Judges don't like to be overturned, and there's very narrow things that you can appeal before the trial's over. So Massachusetts has a very
Right.
strict set of circumstances under which you can file an appeal.
Right. So you're saying while the trial is taking place, you're limited as to what you can do until maybe after it's all over and then
Yeah, or even like pretrial, there are certain things that you can't make motions about until there's a final resolution to the case.
Right. It's wild to watch. I mean, this was a really powerful experience because this judge, I mean, was just so blatantly, I mean, bias isn't even really the right word because it doesn't cover it exactly. It was like she was literally operating as an arm of the prosecutor's office, but the judge.
You know what's so weird about that too? I don't know if you've ever been to any New York courtroom. One time we should go together. We should go to
I
like
would
federal
love
court,
that. So fun.
and check out like, you know, Blake Lively or P. Diddy. Well, he'll be back in court at some point.
That's
but,
right. He'll be there soon enough.
I went to the Daniel Penny trial when it was happening in New York City. That was wild. But Massachusetts is so weird because like the prosecutor's bench is attached to the judge's bench. It's like they're one. It's weird. Like and then the defense sits behind that, like, and they stand up with their back to the defense. It's so weird. In New York, the tables are side by side. We're all equal. The people and the defendant, we're equal. Like you watch it in Law and Order, and the judge is up there, and we're back here. It's a very, very odd system. It's a very, and in many ways, it's like archaic. It's some of the attorneys say to each other, like instead of saying like my adversary, I would call the other side my adversary if I was referring to opposing counsel my adversary. They say my brother and my sister.
Yeah. I heard the O'Keefe civil attorney saying that.
Sometimes that's like, you know, so I guess maybe it's older attorneys do that. I don't know if it's like outdated, but I just found it a little bit weird.
Right. It's dishonest. It feels dishonest, right? Like just not genuine in any way, shape, or form. Ugh. And the fact that the DA has its own goon office, like that is another just like obvious problem, right? Like,
yeah,
you have
they're working together.
You have your own cops. You have your own police force.
Right. We don't have that in New York either. It's not like that. You know, we don't have certain cops that are like assigned to the DA's office. It just, I don't think I've ever really seen that before.
Right. I mean, for obvious reasons, it just seems extraordinarily problematic, right?
It's like, you know, the good old boys club.
Right.
Right. It's like the Low Country. It's like Murdoch.
Yes.
It's like the Low Country.
Right.
And like the ruling dynasties, the Murdoch family like ruled the Low Country for like 100 years.
Yes, it's right. It's right. Everybody, I have friends in South Carolina who said like everybody hated the family because of that, right? They were happy to see him go down.
I'm watching the miniseries now. Are you? It's on Hulu.
Oh, is it good? I know. I watched
Patricia Arquette. Like, how could she's so great in everything, but the actor who plays Murdoch, it's like wild. His transformation. Like, he's apparently British, and I saw him with Patricia Arquette on, I don't know, some morning show. Like, I caught a clip of it, and he's really got gray hair in real life, and he's got a British accent, and he nails Murdoch.
Wow,
I mean, I've seen him
really?
in his speech. I don't know if you guys in the chat are watching it, but I highly recommend.
Yeah. Good to know that it's worth watching.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. Well, so I saw this, I guess, on Justice Served, because for me, looking at the Kelsey Fitzsimmons case, she's a police officer, right?
Yes.
Think about the difference between a female police officer and the way that she is being treated and any other cop that we've seen in the Commonwealth and doing anything. Right. And how they just hold the line and hold them in such high, like they can do no wrong. but the way that they're treating her is like she's a street criminal, right? And it's bizarre. So the only thing that I can come up with that is different about her is that she is a female, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's North Andover, and the police department in North Andover, the chief is a guy named Charlie Gray, and there's been a bunch of lawsuits filed against him for discrimination against female officers. I think there's something like 40 officers in that department, and maybe there's 3 women. And so he's had a couple of lawsuits against him. And, you know, the thing about Kelsey was she was out on leave for postpartum depression after the birth of her son in February.
Right.
And so they knew what she was dealing with. They knew her postpartum depression. In fact, they took her gun and her badge away. And she had to sue or file some sort of proceeding to get her guns back. And she had just gotten her guns back and got cleared to return to work when this incident happened. Like, the timing is just so sus.
That's interesting. Yeah.
And
yeah,
do you
yeah.
know the circumstances of what they did when they came to serve her with the restraining order? Because I can school you real
No,
fast. And I'd
tell
love
me.
your
I mean,
thoughts.
I only
Okay.
have heard loosely.
So she's a North Andover police officer. She had been before that a corrections officer. Okay.
Right.
So she's like a tough chick.
Yep.
She's no joke. She also spent some time in law school, but she decided that she wanted to be a cop after being a corrections officer, which, like, that's a hard job.
It's
They're
extraordinarily
spitting
hard.
on you there. I mean, that's brutal.
It's brutal.
So she is engaged to this North Andover firefighter.
Right.
I named Justin. I call him Justin for the money. So Justin and Kelsey are engaged. They get engaged in like October. I think it was October of last year. Then the last weekend in June, they go for like a bachelorette party to Maine. And apparently according
Together.
to Justin, together. So it was like him and all their like bridal party. According to Justin, Kelsey got really drunk and she threatened, she hit him or she punched him or something or threw something at him. I forget what his story is. And she threatened that she was going to hurt the baby. So the second he gets home, he says that he was so afraid for his life. And if you see the difference in size, I have a picture of them, like, it's huge. He was so afraid for his life that he went to a hotel, he says. And, you know, Kelsey was drunk. It's a bachelorette party. Okay. Who's not drunk at the bachelorette party? And, okay, whatever. So they get home and he lives in her house with her. The house is only in her name. Smart girl. And, she's still breastfeeding. And they get home. It was like the 28th that this whole thing happened. By the 30th, he goes into court. He gets a protective order against her. And he tells the judge, oh, you know, she punched me or she hit me or whatever. And she also threatened to hurt the baby. So they give him this restraining order. It's a DV restraining order. And 3 of her co-police officers, 3 men, go to serve her with this order that she doesn't know is coming. So she's breastfeeding her baby on the couch. And these 3 men knock on her door, her coworkers. And she answers the door and like, hey, Kels, hey, yeah, we got an order here. Justin has a restraining order against you. Here you go. And we have an order to take the baby away. Give us the baby. And Justin's going to be here to pick the baby up in a couple of minutes.
Oh my God.
She sees like her everything she has gone in a second. Her job, her career, her marriage that she hasn't even happened yet. And they're taking her baby away. So she actually gives them the baby and she says, I just need to go pack some things for the baby. And this one guy, Noonan, follows her upstairs. And he says that she hid she ducked behind the bedroom door and came out with a weapon and pointed her gun at him. And she says, no, I didn't. The only person I wanted to hurt was myself. I turned the gun on myself. And then he point blank shoots her in the chest, like twice. She's airlifted, 6 surgeries. She's in the hospital for 53 days. And then, no big surprise, the DA in Essex County charges her with attempted murder and charges her with all of these felony assault charges. No charges for the officer. And so, yes, when you say that it seems a little bit strange, yeah.
That situation is beyond maddening, right? Beyond. And then, then the judge interprets the fact that she came in after 3 days or 3 days after the order was initially, came down about the blowing in the thing, interprets that the reason that she's entitled, right?
Yeah. Like how dare you, basically.
How dare you?
I mean, she has collapsed lung, fractured ribs, lacerated liver.
Shot
like the
twice.
chest tube insertion. Like she can't blow into the thing long enough to make it register, but she was not in violation of her bail conditions.
Right.
So after she's in the hospital for 53 days, eventually the judge says, okay, I'm going to let her out. ROR, no bail, but alcohol monitoring. And she's got to wear an ankle monitor. So she goes home and tries to do it. And it's very, very painful. She has
Right.
pain for many hours afterwards. And so they had this horrible hearing. I don't know. I have the audio of it. It's horrible.
I saw the hearing. It was a nightmare.
And the judge was like, oh, you can't do it? Okay, you're going back to jail. And the alternative was she could just go pee in a cup, randomly whenever the random testing came up. And the judge was like, yeah, no, you're going back to jail.
Oh, it was brutal. It was
horrific.
And she didn't even have alcohol. There was nobody claiming that she was drunk the night that this incident occurred, right? I mean, she was drunk at a bachelor party.
Based on Justin's word,
Right.
alcohol was a problem. And then this guy files a motion in court. She puts her house on the market because she needs to pay her attorney's fees. He files a motion asking the court to give him all the proceeds from the sale of the house for future child support. There's been no orders.
Gotta be kidding.
There's been no decision on custody. That's why I call him just in it for the money. Because, I mean, if really you were looking out for the best interests of your child right now, would you be going after her for money?
No.
She's in jail because of you.
You were going to marry this woman 3 months ago.
And you were so supportive of her and her postpartum depression journey. I mean,
what is going on here?
Exactly. What's going on here?
What
were they really fighting about?
Right.
Did he see the gravy train come into a quick screeching halt? And he's like, I got to do something. What, did she break up with him? Like, we don't know her side of the story because she's in jail because of this guy.
Right.
And it's been up to the appellate court. And they argued a violation of the ADA, the Americans with Disabilities Act, saying, courts have to abide by that. And if she has a disability, because she can't do this physically, you have to accommodate her. That's like federal law.
Right.
And the one judge panel was like, yeah, no. So now they've filed an appeal to the entire panel of appellate judges, and we'll see what happens with it. But it's like Massachusetts is the it just keeps on. And so that's a female police officer. There's a male police officer down in Fall River. His name is Sean Sousa. He was convicted by a jury of graping his stepdaughter between the ages of 6 and 8. Jury convicted him. Judge sentenced him to 10 to 15 years. And then the judge decides a couple days later, you know what? I'm going to vacate that. Lets him out of jail. And says, you know what? There were 2 victims because it was a stepdaughter and another victim. The judge says, yeah, we shouldn't have had those cases tried together. He didn't get a fair trial. And so I'm just going to let same judge that sentenced him to 10 to 15 years has now overturned that verdict, let him out of jail. And that's a male police. And he's out there.
That's a police officer.
Yeah, he's a police officer. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So nobody knew about this case until I started covering it. And the guy there, so the DA in that case is appealing it. You don't see that very often.
Wow. How interesting.
Yep.
So in the Kelsey case, when it goes to the appellate court and it goes to the full panel, where are those judges from? Are they like local county? Are they state? Where are
they're like the appeals court. So that's the highest court. So they sit, they're in Boston, I think, right? Are they in Boston? Moakley building? Or is that the federal building? I can't remember. But where does the appellate court sit, you guys? I'm not sure.
I'm in the wrong.
But yeah, that's the highest court in Massachusetts.
Okay. So, and they're actually in one place all together.
Yeah.
Operating.
And it's like a 7-judge panel, I think. And maybe there's some that they rotate in and out.
Wow. It's just.
Yeah. It's confusing because in New York, our lowest court is the Supreme Court.
Right.
And then we have the appellate division. And then our highest court is the Court of Appeals.
Right. So it's
so this is, they call it the SJC. So it's that's the highest level, I believe, of their court.
It's just crazy. It's really wild. And I was thinking, we need like a Yelp for judges in this country, right? Some way to because there's no rating system. I tried to look up her judge. What's her name? Newman.
McCarthy Neiman. Yeah.
Right. I tried to look her up. There's virtually nothing on her anywhere. It was very hard to find, anything at all, even a
Mhm.
photo of her, other than like the one that you've seen everywhere. My
Right.
thought is like,
No,
we
it took us like 4 tries to get the right photo of her. Like, we
right.
had all the wrong photos of her because you're right. She's like a ghost.
She's like a ghost. And there was that one case where somebody was very happy with
Mhm.
her, and that was what kept coming up,
Right.
ironically. And so it's interesting that, these judges, they're just like ghosts. Nobody is paying attention to what they're doing. And it made me think, we need some kind of monitoring system or
And
whatever.
they're appointed, by the governor. Like in New York, we vote for our judges here. So you have
Mm,
an opportunity to vote for the judges. You can look them up and see what kind of law they practice, which is also really weird too, because like there are some judges in Massachusetts. Sometimes they'll hear a murder trial, and the next case they're hearing is like a personal injury case. Like
right.
our judges, like they sit in criminal court. They were
Right.
either defense attorneys or prosecutors, and they've done their time in the system of criminal court. So they know how to oversee criminal proceedings, but there it's just kind of like, you can get whatever.
It's really
It's
bizarre.
weird.
The whole system is just, but like you were saying earlier, it's the witch trials. It's the kind of history of, and it's so interesting. You would think it would be the opposite. You would think because Massachusetts has this long storied history in this country, right?
Mhm.
You would think it would be exactly the opposite, and it is very much not the case at all.
Yeah, that there would
Very
have been
much
some sort of rebellion and try to
right.
try to fix it. But I think, that's what is happening now. I think
I hope so.
people are starting to pay attention. The whole world is watching Massachusetts right now.
I hope so. And I guess that's the one thing, kind of like, I hate the term LawTuber, but I think that's
Mhm.
really what the community of law tubing has started to do, right? Is create some accountability and the exchange of information where people in Australia, people in California are hearing about what's going
Yeah.
on in Oklahoma or Massachusetts,
Mhm.
which was just not a thing really
And just
before.
like shining a light on these things,
Right.
like I only choose cases to cover that I'm really passionate about, because like it's not going to be fun for me or for my audience if I'm not really interested in a case.
Right.
And so for me, not having handled any of the other, and I'm new, like I've only been doing this a little over 2 years.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't around for like the first Adelson trials. So like for me,
Right.
that was not a trial that I wanted to cover because I wasn't really invested in it. Like for me, I want to choose cases where I think there's an interesting question of law or an interesting question of fact, or maybe the person is innocent, or maybe the person actually was not hit by a car. And
Right.
what are we doing persecuting this woman?
Right.
Or like Aaron Spencer is a father who killed his daughter's rapist while this man was in the process of kidnapping her from their home and probably
Mm,
was going to take her life. I mean, and now he's running for sheriff in his county in Arkansas. Is wild.
yeah.
So like cases like that are like not as well known, but that I feel that people really need to know about,
Mhm.
because and it doesn't necessarily bring me the most views or clicks and likes, but I'm really too old to give a shit about any of that, so I don't care.
Right.
You
Right.
know?
Right. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Free
Well,
Aaron
that's what I was.
Spencer trial channel is right.
Is that what's going to, I mean, is that what got you involved? How did you end up deciding to have a channel?
To just come on YouTube. I think I was kind of like, I was at a crossroads. Like I retired from practicing law. I was kind of like, litigation really sucks the life out of you. I
Ugh.
handled the Catholic Church cases on behalf of the victims/survivors. And like that was like a 15-year fight before we were able to get my clients like these huge settlements. And it was great. But like after a while, litigation just really sucks the life out of you. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you know what? I just can't be angry all the time. Although people would say that I'm a very, very angry YouTuber, but whatever. It became I'm an empath. So, I can't really separate my clients like problems. And I would really absorb all of that stuff. And that's a lot of stuff to absorb, over a 30-year period. So I'm like, let me pivot and see what else, there is to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I started YouTube because there was like, I started like guesting on some other shows. And then I was
Mhm.
like, this is kind of fun. Like I'm filling time. Let me just, it's kind of like a hobby. And now it's like a job. And I love it.
I know, it's so fun.
Because where else can you get your own show whenever you want to do it? The
Mhm.
greatest commute in the world, because you
Yeah.
don't have to leave your house,
Totally.
and you do what you want when you want. You don't have a boss. You're not
Totally.
beholden to anybody. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And I would also add to that, there's so much polarization in the world. Like we were talking earlier just about Twitter, but when you are doing this, you realize, I expected there to be people that were gonna, say mean things or just be jerks, right? But I
Yeah.
did not see such a beautiful community forming,
Yeah.
right? Like that's the thing that is so cool. You see people supporting each other and being kind to each other and really caring about each other and their well-being. And that's one of the things that the Karen Reed case definitely, I'm sure you got a chance to get up to Dedham and be a
Yeah.
part of the community
Yeah.
at different times. And everybody was just so kind. People from all over the place, different walks of life, different political beliefs and ideology coming together in just this beautiful way. That's another thing I never saw coming, but is so wonderful.
Right.
It's huge.
And I mean, that's the thing. You have your own YouTube channel. You create the community that you want.
Right.
The block button is your best friend. Like,
Yeah.
I don't need vitriol in my, why do I need that? I
Right.
want everyone to be nice and get along. People make friends in the chat. Like
Yeah.
I don't give you freedom of speech in my chat. If you're going to be a jerk, then you can go. You don't have to stay. Like there's a million other channels you can watch.
And a lot of other places to spew hate and anger, like
I don't have time for it.
countless,
I
right?
don't have time for it.
Absolutely.
You don't
No,
have
I
time to
know.
hate.
I know. It's like, well, kind of like you were saying, and actually I appreciate it. I heard you say this about law. I remember years ago when I was making the decision to go into psychology, and I'm talking about when I was like 17, I thought, maybe I could be a defense attorney. I liked the whole mock trial stuff. It was fun. But man, I never realized you are always fighting. You are
Always fighting.
always battling. That has got to be draining.
Yeah.
Really, really draining.
Fighting with lawyers, fighting with judges, fighting with insurance companies, I tried being a defense attorney in law school for like 10 minutes because we had a student law. I went to University of Denver for law school, and we had, in Colorado, you can act as an attorney as long as you're supervised by a professor at the law school. And so we had like the student law office, and people in the community who couldn't afford to hire lawyers would come in with their problems, and we would represent them. Kind of like, I just started The Rainmaker. Thanks to whoever recommended that to me in the chat. The TV show. There's a TV show now of the John Grisham novel, and it's great. And it's the same kind of thing where they help people in the community. And I had a case where I was representing a guy who was like stalking like his ex-wife. And like, that was my client, and I had to fight for him. And I had a really hard time with that. And it was clear that he was really doing it. I mean, the phone records were there.
Right.
And then I remember fighting for him, and I got him off. And like in the middle of like this little trial that we had, the prosecutor said, "Can I talk to you for a second in the hallway?" And I said, "Sure." And he said, "Okay, you're about to get your client off, but I just want to let you know that there's some officers in the hallway that are going to be arresting him on other charges as soon as he walks out."
Oh, wow.
And I felt terrible because I was happy about it. You know what I mean? So I was like, okay, criminal law is not for me.
Right.
And, you have to have a very, you have to be a really strong, I don't know, like your right to advocacy, I guess, has to overshadow your inability to want to represent people that are guilty. Like that was an internal struggle for me.
Oh, I'm sure. It has to be.
And so I chose to be a civil litigator, which, I helped injured people rebuild their lives and get them money, because that's the only thing you can do. Like when someone is killed, you can't turn the clock back and bring their loved one back, but at least you can help them try and rebuild. So
yeah, and it seems like that's a much longer process, civil court. Like, the cases kind of drag on for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They could last forever. But you also, you're not risking the death penalty.
Right.
Like if
Someone's
you lose,
life is not on the line. You're
like
not going to prison for 25 years. Right.
Defense attorneys lose a lot more sleep, I think.
Oh my God, I cannot imagine. Just watching like Alan Jackson and Yannetti and, watching those guys. Jackson, you could just see it. It was funny. I went back today. I was looking at something, and I never saw it the first time around, but they're coming after the verdict. They come out at the stairs, right? Yannetti puts his arms up, and, Karen starts to walk down the stairs, and Jackson's next to her. And right after she makes the comments, one, she talks about the supporters, and then nobody's done more for John O'Keefe than I have or whatever. Right after that, a reporter asks her, do you want them to open the case again? And Jackson doesn't hear it that way. He hears it like, are they going to come after her for something else, is the way he hears the question. And the look on his face and the way he shuts it down, you could just see he was done. He was like emotionally just so spent. Like, no,
I
he's
know.
he's like yelling at the reporter, and the reporter then like tried to correct himself quickly. Like, no. I mean, are you going to advocate for John's case to be
Right.
reinvestigated
Justice
or
for
whatever?
John O'Keefe.
Right. But he just was so, you can just see like he was spent, and I can imagine. Can you imagine?
Yeah, you don't sleep, you don't eat. I mean, and just the waiting on the verdict again, and then them
Right?
thinking, "Oh my God, is this jury going to hang again? Are we going to have to do this a third time?" Because they would have done it again. The Commonwealth would have done it
Absolutely.
again. They were not going to let that girl go free. They were going to pin it on the girl no matter what. And they've
Absolutely.
been known to try people more than 3 times in Massachusetts.
Oh, could you
So
imagine? Oh my God.
they were not letting it go.
Yeah, that reminds me. What do you make of of her phone situation? What do you think that's about?
I think that again, they just want to get her on something. Are they being pressured by the outside people again? Like, you got to do something, you got to do something.
I don't know.
But the attorney that she has for that, like, no shade to him, but shade to him, because he didn't argue that Judge Cannoni has already ordered for that property to be released. Like, I think that would have been his best argument. I mean, Chad,
Seems
correct
like,
me if I'm wrong, but didn't Judge Cannoni like issue an order that all her property,
yeah,
including
to
her
be
vehicle
returned.
and her phones, should be returned? So, like, why wasn't that like point number one?
Right.
Like, Judge Cannoni already said to return this stuff.
I think
Listen,
he
if
was
you've had
shocked.
these phones since January of 2024 and you have never downloaded them or looked at them, what the hell did you take to the grand jury to try and to get the, indict the ham sandwich of Aiden and Karen on conspiracy? They had nothing.
Right, they had nothing. So
They
that's
had
why they didn't
nothing.
get the indictment, right? Because they had nothing.
Right. And so what? You're just going to hang on to it and we're just going to let them have another bite of the apple? Like, it seems like a little bit prejudicial.
Absolutely.
But especially since there's already an order out there that says you got to return the stuff.
Does not. Well, because I think what Krupp was saying, well, yeah, just do the download and then give her the phone back. Right? That was his like little
Right.
way of reasoning it through. It seemed to me like that attorney was shocked. I forgot his name off the top of my head.
Cosgrove, he's the special prosecutor on Aiden's case, that guy?
Karen's lawyer.
Oh,
Karen's lawyer.
Vu Zhang is his
Vu
name.
Zhang.
Mhm.
Yeah. He seemed stunned by what happened. That was my take on it.
Yeah, I think he didn't see it coming.
He didn't see it coming. He was not ready.
He
for
thought it was
that.
going to be easy. He thought they were going to just be like, "Oh yeah, here you go."
Right.
But like a dog with a bone. And that's why like all of this like division and all of this discourse out there
Yeah.
on social media, like among people that are in the, the community of Free Karen Read, is terrible for both of them.
I
Because
know.
Aiden is still facing, I don't know how much less than 105 years he's facing with the charges that got dismissed today, but they'll do whatever they can to try and pin something on the girl.
Definitely. Yeah.
Whether it's from external pressure or internal pressure or people who are afraid for themselves of what could be uncovered about them. I mean,
well, that's a whole nother discussion, but who knows now? I mean, now because of Proctor's phone, who knows how that makes them behave around Karen's phone? Because now it sort of ups the ante a little bit, right? You got to try to find something on her. And you're absolutely right. All the drama only facilitated that process without a doubt, right? I mean,
I really don't think they're going to find anything in her phone.
No.
Because if they really thought they were, don't you think they would have done it in January of 2024? Like, if they really, really wanted to. I mean, there was some woman who came out and did an affidavit for one of Aiden's cases, and she said that that Kate Peter told her that Jen McCabe said that if Aiden's not in jail, I'm not going to testify at the trial. Things like that. Like
yeah.
If you thought you were going to find that in Karen's phone all the way back then, and you wanted Aiden in jail for the trial because otherwise Jennifer McCabe wasn't going to testify, why didn't you just do it then?
It doesn't make any sense. You're right. Absolutely right. No, who knows?
It's like you snooze, you lose. Like, you don't get to hang on to something for almost 2 years and then decide you want to come up with some new charges. It seems like
unbelievable.
The epitome of unfairness and
unimaginable unfairness. And also, what could be like worst case scenario? What could possibly be there? Worst case scenario.
I mean, I'm thinking what they're looking for is Karen giving Aiden addresses of these alleged witnesses to like go drive by their house. And they're going to say somehow that's a conspiracy because she gave them him the addresses. And then he drove by their house with his rolling rally to intimidate them and that she told him to do it. It's a stretch. But,
Total stretch.
so was John O'Keefe being hit by a car.
Right.
It didn't happen. And there was
Right.
never any motor vehicle accident report either, by the way.
And Aiden's a journalist. I mean, that's the whole point, right?
Right.
That's the whole thing. And the thing about that I really didn't understand completely until I spoke to Aiden about this, they knew that. They themselves, right? The McAlberts absolutely knew he was a journalist. Period.
Yes. And she is allowed to talk to whatever journalist she wants to talk to. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with a criminal defendant getting their story out there through journalism, old school journalism, knocking on doors. Remember, I don't know if you followed the Gabby Petito case, but there were reporters camped out on the laundry's front lawn.
Yes, of course.
Right?
Yes,
Yelling
yes,
at
yes.
Roberta Laundrie every time she left the house. Like, where's Brian? We know you know where Brian is. Did any of them get arrested for witness intimidation? Because I don't remember hearing about that.
I mean, how many cases remember the Casey Anthony situation?
Yeah.
I mean, she was like, that was an insane case where so much media attention, the journalists were dogs. They were like bad dogs with her.
And they knock on doors and they ask questions, and that's what journalists do.
Right.
And I don't know anybody who's ever been prosecuted under this weird witness intimidation statute in Massachusetts until Aiden Carney. If anybody can point it out to me, let me know. But that statute was enacted for victims of DV who would be threatened. If you testify against me, then I'm gonna kill you and your whole family. That's witness intimidation.
Of course.
Finding a horse's head in your bed. That's witness intimidation.
Right.
Old-time mob tactics. Like you're going to be sleeping with the fishes. I'm going to come after you and your whole family. You're going to keep quiet. That's witness intimidation. Not saying like, why are you covering up for a murderer?
Aiden with a bullhorn in front of the house at Michael Proctor's house screaming, he's a planted evidence. I mean, that was the other part. They were the subjects. Like the DA's office was the subject of journalism, of his journalism, which is
sue him civilly.
Well,
there's
an
a civil
interesting
remedy
point.
for that,
Isn't that
if you think
interesting,
he's
though?
defaming you, you think he's calling you a murderer. Truth is a complete defense, right? And we don't really know what the truth is yet. So everything that he could have been yelling at them could very well be true. And it could all be contained within the treasure trove of Proctor's phone extraction. So,
Right.
sometimes
So
they better
that was
want what
my
they wish
question.
for.
Why didn't they do that?
Why didn't they do Proctor's phone
Why
extraction?
didn't they do a defamation suit against Aiden?
Oh, because they have to give depositions. They would have to be deposed.
Because
Right?
you can't, if what he's saying is true,
Right.
then you really can't sue, right?
Right.
To
Truth
me,
is a
that's
complete defense. And also there's opinion. He's entitled to an opinion.
right.
It's journalism. Massachusetts is one of like very few states though that doesn't have any journalistic shield or privilege, which is also really weird to me. Because in New York, journalists are totally protected. Like they don't have to give up their sources. They don't have to give up their notes. They don't have to give up their Massachusetts that's another weird thing about Massachusetts. So anybody who's a journalist, come to New York.
Right. It's amazing. It's just incredible. And you're absolutely right. I mean, it's true. Of course, there's going to be injustice everywhere and anywhere, probably all over this country. But Massachusetts has this very particular kind of like breed of it that is unique to it all onto itself, right? It's bizarre. It's just a very bizarre system where every assumption you have about the way things should be, it isn't that way. It's just totally backwards.
And that's what's so interesting is that there are so many like first time trial watchers with the Karen Reed case. Like this is the first trial they've ever been interested in, ever have watched. And so they're like shell shocked. Like, is this the way it is? And every time Mark Betterow and I would be together on a stream, it was like, we're talking people off the ledge. Like, no, this is not how it's supposed to happen. This is not the way it works in the real world. This would never happen anywhere else. You don't understand. Like this is, it's a unicorn. This is like the weirdest case that everyone in the world has watched. And hopefully some good will come out of it and people will start to pay attention to things like this.
Yeah.
Going forward.
Yeah. And listen, these people, whether or not they ever pay in terms of like being criminally prosecuted,
Mhm.
I think they're all paying eternally for all of it, right? I mean, I think every day Jennifer McCabe has to be, living life has to be kind of hell 90% of the time if you are that woman, right? I mean, it just has to be. You can't
I
you
don't
can't
know.
be two people in one, right? I mean, you've got essentially you're living a total facade
I feel
90% of
like
the
maybe
time.
she spends a lot of time on Twitter. I don't know. I don't know. All day long, she's tweeting under it like I don't know how many fake names, and
You
that's
know
how she
what?
keeps herself busy. I don't know.
Would it surprise you?
No, not at all. I
No.
pretty much probably can tell you exactly which accounts she runs.
I mean, it's bizarre how many people are dedicated to just hating everything,
Fully
whether it's
dedicated.
Aiden or Karen. It's to me, it's just we were talking about this. It's mind-boggling. I don't know how you could possibly spend your entire channel, whatever it is, your whole
Yeah.
platform, just hating on other people's platforms.
Or
How
just like
bizarre is
tweeting
that?
all day. Like obviously you have no job. Because like if you had a job, you could not tweet for
Totally.
30 times a day and spew hatred about people that you don't even know. Like it's just so weird. It's such a weird culture. I was
Totally.
watching that interview with Jennifer Aniston on Dax Shepard, and she was saying like he said, you've been on 2,000 tabloid covers. And he's like, that's like being on a tabloid cover every single day for however many years straight. And she's like, yeah, I'm really sorry. She said, but it was so much different when I was on the cover of a tabloid because you would read like the letters to the editor the next week and there would only be selected letters. Maybe there were 3 letters and people were complaining about her or whatever and saying mean things about her. She's like, now it's constant. She's like, it's constant because of social media. She's like, back then, if I was on the cover of the Inquirer, they would only have like 3 letters. And it's horrible. It's so much worse. And I feel so bad for like our kids who have to grow up with this constant in your face hatred.
Yeah, it's wild.
And criticism.
Yep.
And, bashing publicly and people that get to hide behind fake names and do it. Like it's,
yeah,
and we're not even public figures. Like this is Jennifer Aniston. Like, it's mind numbing.
I know. Well,
Mind-numbing.
and also we were sort of talking about this earlier too. There's this kind of like stalker kind of thing, right? Element to a lot of that, not in the most extreme sense, but there is like this ability to be anonymous and to kind of go after people.
Right.
We're kind of seeing more of that, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
people that turn out to be close to you or somebody that that you don't realize is like sort of secretly has this whole, anonymous platform and they're going after you.
Yeah, I mean, that if you're talking about that whole 9-hour stream thing, I don't know. I didn't watch it, but from what I understand, that was like somebody that worked for her that she actually really did know in real life. But and then the account was like her, so there was no secrecy to it.
Well,
But
then
I've
there's
been
the Meredith
definitely
O'Neill thing too, right? Like Aiden's girlfriend.
Yeah, I don't really know about that.
Okay, so that was the same thing.
Was it like
somebody?
it was
Bradles. I don't know the whole
that
story.
one, right? There was somebody named Tina who started an account that was made to attack her and some other people, and then she admitted it
for like a year.
Yeah, that's like I don't understand. I don't understand it. I don't know why people would do that. I mean, stalking is bad. Can we all agree that stalking is bad? But things have happened to me that I don't talk about because I have a YouTube channel and I think that John O'Keefe was not hit by a car. Like, really? That gives you the right to do that under a fake name and do and I don't talk about it, and I would never do a 9-hour stream about it, but it's mind numbing. And you see this happen to younger kids, like younger social media people, TikTokers,
right?
Social media, like influencers that are taking their own lives because of this online bullying. And it's horrible. And what's so weird about it too is that most of these people that do it are like grown as adults.
I know.
They're not teenagers. They're like, women in their 50s. Like, it's just weird.
Yeah.
You should do a show on that. Maybe you could psychoanalyze some of these.
So I work with a lot of young adult male. That's kind of been my like group for many years, just by accident, really. And in that community, there's a huge issue with, them getting baited online into kind of sexual innuendo discussion with who turns out to be somebody who's blackmailing them. So they start out just like, hey, and then within 24 hours, they have them send nudes because they want the nudes back, right? And now they have all these pictures and they say, I'm going to go on your Facebook page and I'm going to show everybody and I'm going to tell your girlfriend and I'm going to tell your parents. And these, particularly the younger ones, I mean, it's caused a few different, not in my career, but suicides throughout the US. Just, yeah. So
I saw an
SVU
episode about that very recently.
They all go through it though. I mean, every single male client I have, and I've been doing this since 1998, they've all had some version of it to varying degrees of severity. Some of them are, they're so embarrassed they don't want to tell anybody, that they kind of all go through it. Some of them just don't tell anybody and like shut everything down. And then, it didn't happen. And others will try to pay. It's
But
crazy.
are these like catfishers that they meet online that they don't know who they really are? Or are these people that they really know from school?
No, they're catfishers. Yeah, they're catfishers.
Oh man.
Anybody from somebody in Sudan to, whoever.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, can we teach the kids don't send nudes like ever? Just don't do it.
I know.
I mean, I'm so glad that wasn't a thing when I was in high school. It wasn't a thing.
I know. Well, there's all these ways. I mean, to your point, like social media, all our kids are all, thank God. I thank God almost every day that I did not have Facebook or Instagram when I was 13, 15.
I know.
Oh
it's like Soho House. You got to put your phone in a bowl or in a Faraday bag when you go in. There's no pictures. And that's what it should be like now. Like you come to a party at my house, it's like Soho House. Your phone's going in a bag over here.
Right.
We're going to go out there and there's going to be no pictures.
There's ever. Right. That's right. I know. Well, and one thing I wanted to compliment you on before you go, I feel like you do really have kind of an inherent awareness and understanding of psychology. And you don't always talk about psychological things, but you bring up stuff. You're aware of trauma. You're aware of attachment. You're aware of relationship dynamics. I've heard you comment, and I just wanted to give you some props for that because, I would say 90% of the rest of the world just doesn't.
Well, I got my attachment theory degree on Instagram along with my degree in narcissism and NPD. And so, those are the memes that are out there. You can learn a lot about that stuff.
You do.
Just Google it on Instagram and it's like, I recognize this. I recognize that. I recognize this. But yeah, that's you should do a show on that attachment theory because a lot of people don't realize the childhood traumas that we all carry with us and, what our attachment theory is. And, and you can be you can be like in one relationship, you can be like one thing, and in another relationship, you can be another thing. And what's your love language? And like, that's all stuff that's good. Actually, those are good topics for you to cover because they're evergreen. People will come back to them again and again. Like so much of what I do is time sensitive and it's like current events. But like when you start to do evergreen content like that, you'll get millions of views because people will keep looking for it.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Well, you had pointed this out in Karen and John. You had sort of mentioned it once in their dynamic, and you were correct in your very brief assessment of their dynamic. So
right. Well, I think he was a big drinker, and I think that was, and she was too, and it didn't help. But he was an avoidant. I think that's what I said was he was an avoidant, and you could tell through all of the text messages that he did not want to talk about anything, and she wasn't being a scutch. Like she just wanted to like solve the issue now. And he was like, stop it, Karen, stop it. You stop calling me.
Right.
And like, what's worse than that? Like just being like blown off. And then you could see as her messages were ramping up, her voicemails were ramping up because she was being ignored.
Right.
Right. And then her mind was like spinning like, why is he ignoring me? Why is he ignoring me? Is he with someone else? Is he with someone else? He doesn't ignore me ever? Like he must be with someone else.
Correct.
She would never think that he was beaten to death.
Right.
It just wouldn't cross her mind.
Right. So she calls 53 times, but that's what murderers do. Because all of us know that that's common practice, right?
Right. Because, you
murder somebody.
If you murdered somebody, you would call them and be like, hey, honey, hey. Hey, honey, hey. Just, miss you. The bed is so big without you.
Not call
home soon, baby.
And leave like hateful messages. I fucking hate you. No.
I will not be ignored, Dan. I will not be ignored. The bunny boiler fatal attraction.
Very funny. It's very funny. So yes, I just wanted to give you that
Thank you.
props
Thank you.
and thank you so much for coming on with
Thanks
me.
for having me.
So
Welcome
nice to have
anytime. You can come to my house next time.
Oh, I would love to anytime.
Come on over to my house.
Yes, I would love to come to your house. Of course.
All right. We'll have a date. And plus, we don't live so far away. So, you know, we
No,
can maybe
that's
meet
right, yeah.
IRL. Maybe we can meet IRL.
Well, yeah, and if you're
That'd be
ever,
crazy.
in my neck of the woods.
Yeah. No pictures, but, we'll do it.
Yes, absolutely. No pictures.
We could do it and not even tell anyone that we did
That's what I
it.
mean.
Could
Yeah.
you imagine? Could you imagine meeting a person and not taking any pictures? If you meet a person and you don't take any pictures and post them all over social, did it really happen?
That's a good question. Yeah, good
The
question.
tree falling in the forest. Many questions. I just want to pick your brain all day.
You're funny.
Thanks for having me.
All right, you. Thank you, and we will, hopefully see you again soon.
Okay. Bye, everyone. Good night, everybody. No nudes. No nudes, man.
No
Don't send
nudes.
nudes. And ladies, don't do it either. And tell your kids not
Yes,
to send
no
nudes.
nudes. No nudes.
No good comes from nudes.
I've
No.
told my daughter
None,
already
none,
for
none.
like 2 years. Ms. Melanie Little, that was so much fun. I'm so excited I got to spend some time with Melanie. Yay. That's like a really big deal for me, you guys, because, like I said, I probably wouldn't have a channel. It's possible, it's not impossible, but it was just listening to Melanie every day through the first Karen Reed trial and just also getting used to being with you and on YouTube and listening, to just people for hours and hours. And Melanie's the best at just live entertainment, right? Just being with you live and creating a community. She's so, so good at it. So I so appreciate getting some time with her. And one of the things that we talk about all the time too, just from our Wednesday Night Live, is just having other people who care as much about these trials, these cases, right? Think about how many hours we've all collectively dedicated to whatever cases, whether it's Karen Reed or the Adelsons or, fill in the blank here, any trial that you have an interest in. So it's just really nice to have a community where you can go and discuss all these things that we all care a lot about, right? So how is everybody? Thanks you guys for being here. Mandy sends $4.99 and says, Proctor thought 30-day delete was 100%. How many of us believe that Proctor actually did do that, right? I read somewhere today that he alleged that he had put an app on his phone that was supposed to delete all the content every 30 days. Does anybody know of an app that does that? Because I've never heard of an app that does that. I'd be very interested to know about whatever app this was. Clearly, not the brightest bulb, and it's extraordinarily unlikely that he had that kind of app. And clearly it didn't matter anyway because of the cloud. Is funny though. Remember the discussion about the cloud? There was some mention of cloud. I don't know if it was during the actual trial or if it was somewhere in the in one of the reports that I read about him. I think it was testimony in the trial where he kind of glazes over the cloud conversation. Somebody mentions it and he kind of glazes by it. Now that's really coming back to haunt him in a big time way. But yes, I would love to be a fly on the wall. How much would you love to see all those, everything, right? Because we're not going to get to see the whole hundreds of thousands of whatever is there. But how much would you love to be the one going through those pictures, right? How much would you love to be the one going through those pictures? I am pretty certain that in that phone is something that the Karen Reed team was told did not exist. I don't know whether it's a video from the ring footage that he deleted, or if it's taillight pieces, or who knows, but something is there. And listen, maybe now that there's no way that Michael Proctor is going to get a job back in the police force, right? No chance. It's never happening. So now with nothing to lose, maybe he will finally out everybody else, right? Because they have definitely made him the fall guy. I mean, without a doubt, Michael Proctor is the fall guy for the Massachusetts State Police. And, you know, if you think about it, he's an easy fall guy. I mean, the easiest of all time, right? I mean, he has just made it so easy for them to say, oh, yep, he was the problem. We have this one, you know, black sheep, and now problem solved. He's gone, moving on. But clearly, he was so emboldened to behave the way that he did for a reason. And it appears that some of what they have are conversations between him and other troopers. Right? I had heard on some news outlet today that there were conversations with other troopers about female cops, right? So I don't know if, you know, I'm not sure any of course, about the details. I don't think anybody is just yet, but some of what's out there is going to incriminate other people too, and I cannot wait to find out what's there. Rebecca, welcome to all the new channel members. I'm so happy that you're here. It's very exciting. Catherine Smith sends 1999 and says, in from Charleston, yes, powerful families have tons of power here. Oh, we have a South Carolina. I went to school in Columbia, South Carolina. And I had a big group of friends that went down to college with me, and some of them stayed, and now they have a giant family and friends, and families, plural, and friends, and made it home. So, you know, South Carolina has a definite place in my heart. So I am familiar with Charleston. Charleston is a beautiful place. Tons of money or not. No, tons of money or not. It's the name and heritage. Yes. My ex is one of them. My son is the fifth. Absolutely, names matter down here. Absolutely. That is so true. Yes. A lot of like so and so, the third, right? A lot of I'm trying to think of an example without actually naming somebody that I know personally, and I'm having trouble doing it, but there's a lot of pretty crazy Southern names that represent clout, right? That's kind of the way I would say it for sure. And it seems like that's actually what got Alec Murdaugh in trouble. It seems like, you know, he didn't know how to handle it, handle the pressure of his situation very well, did he? Not at all. Pam MC sends $10, says, deep respect for both of you ladies. I love your intense efforts in searching for the truth of what happened to Officer John O'Keefe, RIKJOK. Well, we thank you so much, Pam MC, for your support. And yeah, I mean, how can we stop fighting for John, right? I mean, you know, to me, that's what this has always been about. And I won't ever stop, not until we know exactly what happened. Maybe, I don't know how long that's going to take. Could be a while, but I am definitely certain that together we get closer than we do when we are apart. We get closer to figuring it out. I get a lot of amazing and very interesting emails, and I love when people email me, and whether it's just their theories about the case or very specific, detailed information as insiders, because you learn a lot. It definitely expedites my thinking about the case when I hear other people's versions of what happened. And I think one that has been out there for a while that I hear a lot, and you guys can tell me what you think, that when John got out of the car, he basically went to pee off to the side of the garage and came upon Colin, or came upon, some people think, Brian Higgins, whichever, or both. And then the dog happened. And so some version of that is something that a lot of people will email me and theorize is what happened. Hopefully someday we will find out. But here's what I know for sure. I know for sure that Karen Reed didn't hit him with her car, and somehow taillight made it to the scene and in John's clothing. Now, we know from Crash Daddies that it's absolutely, this is one of my absolute favorite moments from the second trial. There's actually two. Rentschler has a version of this statement, and Dr. Wolf. Both of them explaining to us why it is physically impossible, why it defies the laws of physics, that the tail light could not have wound up on John O'Keefe's clothing if the car is what hit him, right? In other words, it is not physically possible. There is absolutely no way, because John was found where he was found, and the taillight would have landed behind the car, right? And would have not been able to speed up past the speed of John. So I so appreciate those two men and their ability to explain that very clearly, because it makes it really easy to say, oh, okay, so so then if the taillight didn't get on him that way, well, then how did taillight pieces get into his clothing? Well, who had his clothing? Oh, Michael Proctor had his clothing, right? Okay, so away we go, right? Sinbad33 sends $5 and says, awesome collab. Thanks, Mel and Sam. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here and supporting us. It's such, like I said, it was just such like a dream to get to hang out with Melanie and just talk shop, right? I spent so many hours. Isn't it funny how you spend so much time like listening to everyone? It sort of like feels like them. That's kind of the thing I feel just from having done these interviews recently. It really feels like I've already known them for a very long time, which is not something I expected I would feel, but it's really interesting. Hello, Miss Sherry D. She sends $5, says, my bad. I thought I saw something shiny in your hand. No, I knew. And I was, you do see something shiny, actually, but this is an antique ring that I absolutely love. This is my ex-husband's family like heirloom ring. And I love this ring. It is really my daughter's now, but it's so cool. How often do you get to see like these old rings? I don't know if you guys can see. It's like a black pearl. It's just so cool. So, but I appreciate if there was a special ring type announcement, I will make sure and tell you. Great one sends $2 or £2 and says, like this video. Thank you so much. Remember, like this video, everybody. If you haven't already, definitely like, subscribe. I know I always forget to say that. It's so crazy, but I always forget. So I love when you guys remind me, because I am so bad at self-promotion. I might be the worst ever. You know what, Silver Swag? So old. I'm such an old soul. It's like I feel like probably a lot older than I actually am. For sure. That's actually one of the reasons why I did not in any way, shape, or form plan to succeed at having a YouTube channel and like make this a career choice. It was, when I tell you, has never been a thought in my mind ever. Never. My only purpose for starting this channel was just to have a community, a place I could go with all of the anxiety that you feel during these trials, right? I don't know if you guys feel this way, but the anxiety that I felt through both Karen Read trials was overwhelming. Like, it's insane. The intensity as you're watching in real time, it was just so overwhelming. And I knew that I was not going to be able to do it again. There's no way I was going to be able to go through it the second time the way I did it the first time. And so I said, at least if I have like some outlet where I can go and just scream and shout about what's going on, I'll feel better. And it definitely did make me feel better. But now we're here and it's like, whoa, this is not in the plan. But I will tell you, and the reason why I say this now is because being a therapist is a job where, you really do take on a fair amount of other people's, the responsibility of other people's well-being. You do. And I never really wanted to be a therapist. I know that sounds, I mean, I'm very grateful that I am, and very grateful, that I have been able to be in a position to help people. That's really the whole point. But it wasn't like what I wanted to do. It's just what I ended up doing. Kind of, it chose me. Let me say it that way. It was a job that chose me. I was definitely one of those, the one in like middle school who everybody went to with their problems. Like, that was me. This was, divinely selected for me. But it's a lot. It's a lot. Every time I take a new client on, I feel very responsible to their well-being, you know, forever after. So to have something that's not as heavy as like an outlet and just a place to go is something I very much appreciate. Yeah, it's fun. It's super fun. It really is. I'm just super grateful to be able to be here, but I'm an old soul and it can be heavy. It certainly can. My sister, did I see Jackie? Diane Gallagher says the planets collided, and we're so happy you're here with your perspective and insight. I'm not sure if that was for me or for somebody else, but I appreciate you either way. Sometimes, like the chat moves really fast, and then I click on something, and then somebody else comes up, which is fine. Also, there she is. I was trying to say hi to my sister. I'm not sure if she just joined. Jackie, did you just join us? Hello, sissy. So our mom has not been feeling well. And so shout out to mom if you are listening. Hopefully you're not listening. Hopefully you listen to this some other time later and you're actually home and resting and drinking tea and just getting better. But she has not been feeling well. And I know that my sister's got to be real stressed because when my mom's not feeling well, then, you know, my sister's more stressed and there's less hands on deck to help with her children and the whole thing. So hopefully everybody is feeling better there. Miss you guys. Yeah, Debbie, it sucks. It sucks, right? It sucks. I was feeling like I had a cold. I was complaining, you know, my mom's got pneumonia and I was complaining last week over a headache and like some mild, you know, flu-like aches and pains. And my poor mother's like, you know, struggling to breathe. So hopefully we can all send her well wishes. You know, I need to do that, Amy Law. It's a really good idea. Maybe I will. I wish I could. She's not anywhere near me, my mom. She is in Massachusetts and I'm in New York City, but I can send it to my sister and my sister can do it. So Jackie, I think I'm going to give you a task. Haha. Luckily, my mom has an incredible network of friends and family that are around her. So I know that there are people there that are going to help, but you're going to laugh at me, Amy, but I have today, I got my Whole Foods delivery because I didn't have time to go to the grocery store and I got all the stuff to make the soup today. So true story. So I will let you know once it is all made how it goes, but I'm very excited. It was like so needed. Yeah, I'm like, you know, it's hard. It's hard. I'm the kind of person, my personality is such that I'll just keep pushing and pushing and pushing. So let me see. Let's think. What happened today that I wanted to mention? There's so much going on, you guys. I spent this morning, I decided because of everything going on with Proctor, I went back and I listened to Adam Lally in the Miles King evidentiary hearing again. Okay. And I went back listening with sort of different ears. And I was thinking, you know, I wonder if there's any way for us to tell how deceptive that Adam Lally is being. Like maybe we'll get some insight into what's really going on at the prosecutor's office. And as it turns out, he's deceptive right from the start. And as Melanie pointed out, he's somebody who's been at that office for a very long time. So if anybody knows what's going on, what the protocol is, what the standard operating procedure is in that office, it's certainly Adam Lally. And he's a guy, man, he's a snake, that guy. He really, really is. Colleen Cohen sends $4.99, says, awesome collab. You both rock. You each come with your own set of talents and perspectives. So to hear you both chat together is super cool. Thank you so much, Colleen. It's super cool to get to chat with her, right? Because it's true. She has this completely different sort of experience and knowledge. an understanding that I not only admire, but it's so cool to be able to just chat about things from a completely different perspective. Kylie Cosmos says, Sam, when I was comparing testimony, he was clearly asking the same lines of questions and clearly getting different answers, and he would just go right over it. Sam, when I was comparing testimony, which one? He was clearly asking the same lines of questions and clearly getting different answers. Oh, Adam Lally. Is that what you mean? Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, he's the worst. If you guys go back, listen to Adam Lally's questioning of the McAlberts, right? You don't even have to maybe do Jen. Just all the like background characters, like Caitlin. Listen to the beginning of Brian Albert. Listen to Nicole. Listen to Julie. Listen to Colin. Listen to Chris. The shorter testimonies. You don't have to do like the marathon days long testimonies, but just like the few hours testimony. And you will see how he tries to get each of the witnesses that he's talking to align their stories. Like he tries to remind them of the lie that they're supposed to remember to say. It's really wild. And he does it over and over again. And he does it in a way, and this is the part that's even more disturbing. Because maybe, okay, fine, you want to argue that's like what all attorneys do. All right, fine. But the fact that he doesn't want to draw your attention to whatever it is, right? So like with Colin, for example, Colin doesn't tell us as he's walking out of 34 Fairview. He tells us that as he's literally walking out the door, he sees his aunt and uncle. He sees Nicole and Brian, right? That's what Colin tells us. And right after he tells us that, Lally tries to get him to say, well, did you see any of your older like relatives who's not an adult? Like, in other words, he's trying to get him to remember to say that he saw Caitlin also coming in with them. But he didn't. He didn't see Caitlin. So he doesn't even register it. He just ignores it. And rather than continuing to ask that question at that moment, because doubling up on that question in that moment would draw a lot of attention to his answer. So he waits until later, once we've all forgotten about that topic, to try to get him to say it again at another point. And he does this throughout. It's wild. It's really something to watch because, again, and this is why I firmly believe Adam Lally ended up voting better than Hank Brennan, right? Because he's got that unassuming, like, I'm just this like dum like little old me, this unassuming nature, this guy who kind of looks harmless, looks like he couldn't hurt a fly. And it is so misleading. He is a snake. To me, Adam Lally is a spineless snake, just all the way. And I'll give him credit. I mean, think about how many witnesses that guy had to prepare for. He's no dummy. Think about that. Imagine he was the only guy for the prosecution. He brought 60 freaking witnesses. 60. Can you imagine? It is wild. Oh, yeah, totally. Andy. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I got frustrated watching Lally, his monotone questioning. Oh, I know. I mean, my biorhythms mess up with unplanned naps 100%. He's so top. He'll put you right to sleep. But when I'm doing the analysis, I'm awake and I'm like, it keeps me able to pay attention. That's part of why I'm able to do it. But it's also what he counts on. It's also the reason why the first trial, the first jury, I mean, assuming that it was on the up and up and that they didn't have the jury rigged in any way, which I'm still not 100% convinced is the case, but assuming that the former person did not know Adam Lally, like was alleged by somebody, I think he absolutely, that's why they almost right? I mean, how many was it? 8, 4, 8 and 4? Was that what the split was? A lot of the people in that room were ready, the first jury were ready to say there was an accident and it wasn't intentional. That was what they were ready to say. A lot of those people. Now, luckily for all of us, there was enough people in that room that were paying close enough attention to say, you will have to kill me before I will ever vote that she's guilty of anything. Thank God. Because I would have been one of those people. No, no way. Absolutely no chance in hell. You'd have to kill me before I will tell you that she's guilty of anything, except for maybe the DUI, just to throw a bone to the O'Keefe family. But yeah, he essentially put everybody to sleep. Like his plan, I really believe this is part of his plan, was to bring out so much information that seems like at the end of the day, it washes out what's important from what's not. It's the reason why by the end, the judge is actually telling him, she is actually coaching Lally and stopping him from asking questions about the snow or about which door people are coming in and out of because she can't take it anymore, right? The monotony, the mundane questions, the incessant questions about how much snow, what time the snow, and just all this garbage that will put everybody to sleep. But I think that's part of what happened. Part of what the problem was. The jury just like wasn't able to stay with it. You'd have to be like taking amphetamines to be able to pay attention to Adam Lally for that long, for 8 hours. Could you imagine? Right. Exactly. You said that so much better than I just did. That's right. His plan was confusion and distraction. 100%. That's exactly right. And it almost worked. Thank God almost wasn't good enough. But the second time, it's amazing because you think about, having been watching recently, once again, a lot of the trial footage from the first trial. I don't know why all of a sudden I've been kind of refocusing again on it. I've had people ask me to go back through, Brian Higgins, Brian Albert. And so I've been thinking about doing that again and just not 100% all in paying attention, but giving it more attention recently. And so I've been playing with the idea of going back and doing some just more in-depth analysis of those guys, but it's a lot. That's the thing, right? It takes a lot out of you to sit there and listen to Brian Higgins. It's exhausting. Like, he lies with every breath. And so, it's not like a 20-minute video. That's like hours and hours of sitting there with him and analyzing everything he says, which is the only reason why I haven't already done it, because it just takes forever. But I'll tell you what I have been doing. So I couldn't help myself, you guys. Like, I wish I could let this go, but it came on the other day. I was cleaning or doing something with headphones, and YouTube just immediately, for some reason, it started playing me the Wendy Adelson interrogation video again from the beginning. And I don't remember what it was that I heard her say, but I just heard it differently. I was like, oh my God. And like, I don't even remember what it was that she said, but I heard her say something right at the beginning. What was she saying? And I thought, you know what? I should go back and watch this again, because like, how did I miss this the first time? Like, she's so clearly lying, right? So I went back and I started doing that today. And now with everything, and I don't know why this happens, right? Like, why does it happen where sometimes you just hear something a different way? But it happens to me all the time. Oh, that's so interesting. The trial channel. Interesting. I'm so glad that you sent that. That's so helpful to know, that people really want to know. They really think he's the guy. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like if people are watching Higgins, I mean, the truth is, it could just be me too, like playing the video over and over. Because I watch so much the trial channel. I am on there so much that I wouldn't be surprised if it's just like me hitting you up like 1,000 times a day. Kidding. Not entirely kidding, but kind of kidding. But I'm not surprised because, like I said, people want to know. Like, they want to know, did he do it? And clearly he's the one that had means and motive. But I'll tell you, a lot of people that are closer to Canton are not willing to let Albert and Brian and Colin Albert off the hook. They're really not. Like, I've had people yell at me saying, the Canton police, they think that it was Colin and Brian and Brian Albert. So I don't know. The one thing now, I'm not suggesting that I think that Brian Higgins didn't do it. We know that Brian Higgins was involved. I mean, there's absolutely no doubt about that. We've all seen his pseudo confession in his cross-examination. But one thing that does kind of just gnaw at me a little is the fact that if Brian Higgins was solely responsible for the death of John O'Keefe, you would think that he wouldn't have separated himself from the Alberts the way he did, right? Because by all accounts, Brian Higgins almost immediately after John's funeral or services or whichever memorial, whatever they went to, I know they didn't go to the funeral. I guess they went to the services or vice versa. By all accounts, Brian Higgins essentially parted ways with them pretty systematically. I know there's messages from Kevin Albert, right? Who I'm also, that reminds me to say, if anybody knows anything about Kevin Albert that you think I should know, let me know. Because I've been thinking about trying to do a video just on him because he gets no attention at all. And I know he was there that morning. At least he was at the Minion meeting and clearly was investigating this case along with Michael Proctor, at least a lot of the time. Okay. He was all in. He is the lead investigator was the lead investigator at the Canton Police Force. I don't know if he is now, but they love him there. He's like a hero to the local cops, the Canton people. So to me, he's important and like nobody really knows anything about him. So I feel like we should give him some attention. But I don't know that I have the whole story on him, which is the reason why I haven't done it yet. But my point is, don't you think it would be almost too risky if Colin and Brian Albert had nothing to do, if they were just like bystanders trying to pull the dog off of John, then I feel like it would be very, very risky for Brian Higgins to completely sever ties with them. It would be just so easy for them to just out him. Like, why wouldn't they just go tell him? Go tell the feds, oh, Brian Higgins did it. Like, what would stop them from just telling everybody, the world, that Brian Higgins was the one who did it, right? So to me, that seems risky. And I mean, maybe I'm overthinking it. Certainly, that's always a possibility too. Yes, and that's right. Kevin Albert does have a Ford Edge, right? I think he does have a Ford Edge. No, I mean, yeah. I think my understanding, and I have to go back because it's been a while since I can verify this, but wasn't it Colin who was driving a Ford Edge at that time? Now he has that yellow Jeep, or at least the last time, 3 months ago, he had a yellow Jeep. I think it was Colin and Kevin, right? Because the Ford Edge is a car that is often used amongst law enforcement, right? And Kevin is an investigator for the Canton Police Department. So maybe all of them had a Ford Edge, the three of them. That would have been Kevin, Colin, and Brian Albert Sr., right? Ms. Home 66 says, how did they know that John wasn't going to live because he was dead? He was dead. He was dead right away. So, and it's interesting because this is where the medical examiner probably doesn't get enough flack for being wrong. But Dr. La Posada, she really like cleared it up for me in a way that I could not get past for a very long time, because she was very definitive saying he would have been dead within 15 minutes. Like with the injury that he had to the back of his skull, with the skull injury, the fractured back of the skull, he would have been dead because of the swelling. So we know that he had the coup contra coup injury, right? And then because in addition to the coup contra coup, he had the back of his skull was smashed, and it essentially caused all of the brainstem to kind of collapse in on itself. And that's what controls breathing and heart rate and heartbeat and all of that. So he would have been dead within 15, 20 minutes. But it took me a long time to understand that, because the first medical examiner, Scortibello, gets this wrong and diagnoses Winooski spots. Of course, there was no frostbite, so that should have been a pretty big indication to us all. But she diagnoses that he did have signs of hypothermia, but it turns out that that was kind of a false diagnosis. And there was no frostbite, there was no signs of hypothermia, and that makes sense because he would have died very quick. So that's what happened. Was they tried to save him, but he was dead, you know. And then, because I agree with you, I never could have imagined that they would have let him die. Like, you know, Brian Albert is a lot of things, but I don't see him as like the kind of guy that's just gonna like let a cop slowly die on his front lawn and not do anything to try to save him. And I couldn't ever really get past that. So, but he was dead. I mean, he was dead very quickly. And we know that because Jennifer McCabe does a wonderful job of making sure to tell us that many, many times. She tells us that 3 times in her 911 call. And then she tells us again in her testimony with Hank Brennan, when at one point, and I was able to find this once, and one of my videos I focused on it very briefly, but I don't know where it is in testimony again. I'm going to have to do some transcript investigating with the trial channel to find it. There is a moment when she is recounting the events of that morning. At one point, Brennan is asking Jen, did she help? And she describes the moment where she takes over chest compressions for Carrie Roberts. And it's like, she's trying at that moment to say, see, no, I did help. I was helping. I wasn't avoiding the body or anything, right? She's trying to say that she was helping John. And what she ends up telling us is that when she was pushing down on his chest was hard as a rock. There was you couldn't push down. So it's another way that she does her thing. She again tries to tell us I am fully convinced that Jennifer McCabe wants to tell us the truth. Because she basically does. I mean, she basically outs everybody. She goes as far as you can get to the line of telling the whole truth, but then doesn't. And she'll say things like, well, I can't tell you that, not I don't know, or I won't tell you that, but she says, I can't tell you, which I think she believes. Absolutely. So I think I don't know if that answers that question or not, but I think that is what, I think that's what happened. Thank you for reminding me, everybody. If you haven't already, hit the like button, because I am so bad at remembering. Absolutely. So Amy Denny, is that Denny? Danae. So, was it a homeowner insurance investigation the BA was ultimately afraid of? Should have called 911 and been truthful. Of course. Yeah, I don't know what it was that they were afraid of. I think they were drunk. So the other thing that, I've been saying from day one, and maybe I'll do a video on this. People seem really interested in understanding addiction, and to me, addiction is like, I don't know if there's anything you've ever like, maybe like your first career and then you switch careers, or like something that you studied really, really like intensely at one point in your life and then you just kind of were done with it. So for me, that's addiction. It's something that I just know like backwards, forwards, like there's no more questions to ask when it comes to addiction for me personally and professionally. So I don't think about it very much, but it seems like other people have a lot of interest in learning and understanding about addiction. And certainly it makes sense, and you should. I mean, it's important to understand and interesting for sure. But I think that one of the things that can get overlooked is that they are all what we would say alcohol dependent folks. Like Brian Albert isn't alcoholic. I don't like to use the word alcoholic, but I am just for the sake of like ease of communication, right? Brian Albert is definitely an alcoholic. Brian Higgins is arguably alcohol dependent. Um, Certainly, I'm sure there's an argument to be made. Certainly, Chris, there's an argument to be made. Colin, there's an argument to be made. John, there's probably an argument that would be worth trying to make there. I mean, so many of these guys, that's how they all knew each other, right? I mean, think about it. What brought them together that night was alcohol. They were at a bar. They were out drinking the night before the big snowstorm. And one of the things that Jennifer McCabe says at some point in her blabbing on and on is that all the kids' events, like all their games, basketball, hockey, were canceled for the next day. So nobody had to like run around because of the snowstorm, which was part of why all the parents were out in the bar the night before, the night of the snowstorm, right? And so if it's not for their desire to want to be out in the bar drinking together, this never happens. So I think you can't underestimate how alcohol changes your brain and your ability to think clearly. It just impaired them. And I think if you look at Brian Higgins in the waterfall, right before he points at John O'Keefe from across the bar and like says, let's go, like that. He does this thing with his face where he like, he does that, like the drunk thing you sometimes see men do. I think women don't do it because of makeup. Like, we're not going to do that because it would smear all the makeup off our faces. But for them, like men do it sometimes. Like when they're really drunk, you see them like rub, I don't know, do this thing with their hand over their face. He was so drunk as he's walking out of that bar. And another thing that we get from Brian Higgins and Brian Albert in their testimonies, they're both really shady about the timeline, how long they were at the bar before they show up at the waterfall. So I think they were at, was it Hillside? Hillside, right? Hillside. That's the one that John and Karen and Brian Higgins hang out at. Is it Hillside or Hilltop? I think it's Hillside. They are at the Hillside before they go to the waterfall. And I think they're probably there much, much earlier. And I think they drink much, much more than the 4 or 5 drinks that Brian Higgins admits that they drink, right? Brian Higgins also made a point of telling the feds that Brian Albert was drinking like double time what he was. I don't know why I know that. I don't even know where I got that information. I just know that that's something that he had said at one point. So I don't know if any of that made sense, but yeah. So yes, it was kind of a group effort, right? I mean, I think everybody did have their hands in it, but here's the thing, you guys, whatever happened, it happened so fast. It happened so fast. It had to be like really, really quick. And I can't decide. I'd love to know what you guys think about this. I cannot decide for the life of me whether I think, I go back and forth. Even as I'm saying this right now, I'm thinking yes and no. I cannot make up my mind about the extent to which Julie Nagel and Sarah Levinson were aware of what was happening in real time. I go back and forth. Sometimes I am absolutely sure that they had no awareness of what was going on in real time. And other times I kind of go the other way and I say, well, they must have known. There's no way they didn't know. If Jennifer McCabe knew, then they knew. And, this is the kind of minutia and these kinds of arguments that you can get into with yourself really, really easily. So I'm not sure. Again, I would love to know what you guys think. Absolutely, because I cannot, I just can't tell. That's really the truth. Welcome, Denise Go Blue. I don't know if you guys know this, but like Denise is one of my favorite names of all time. And I have met so many amazing Denises, and we have our moderator, Denise is the best. And I don't know what to call her. So I'll just say my boyfriend's sister is Denise, and she is amazing. And so I'm meeting all these Denises. It's very exciting. Yeah. So welcome. Welcome to all the new members tonight. Hopefully I got to everybody's super chats. I hate when I miss people. So if I missed you, I absolutely hate it. And I'm so sorry. I'm just double checking to make sure. I want to make sure that I didn't miss anybody. Okay. I think I've got everybody so far. Yeah. I will also say I got everybody, thank goodness. Thank you for Sherry D gifting all those memberships. That's amazing. And welcome to all the people who got those memberships. Where our little community is growing. It's just so much fun to see and so much fun to be a part of. I was saying this to Melanie earlier before we came on, just, what an unexpected surprise it is to watch the community that grows around my channel, but also everybody else's channels, right? I mean, it's really an amazing thing. You would think that you're just going to get constant shit, right? Because it's just a very polarized world. So, I figured, well, I'm going to put myself out there. I got to expect there's going to be haters, of course, right? But what I didn't see was that there would be this lovely community that would grow up together, right? That's just such a beautiful, beautiful thing to me, especially in the world we live in where there's just constant, anger and hate. And this is something else that we were talking about earlier. The fact that there are like Twitter, I don't know, accounts, I guess, that are solely created just to hate on Aiden. Like, to me, that is absolutely baffling. And I will say this. X breaks stories, and it's a great place for you to go if you're looking for documents. Oh my God. And a shout out to the trial channel. Holy crap. If you haven't gone on to X and followed the trial channel, you must do that, because in addition to doing all of the hard work of going through these long trial transcript testimonies and putting in all the timestamps for us, the trial channel made us an amazing Google document that breaks down the Karen Reed civil response in her civil case. It is like a lifeline. It helps you to see exactly what it was that this document actually said. And unless you are a civil attorney, number one, the document is useless. You can't read it. It's essentially like reading some kind of directions or instructions in like Japanese. It doesn't even make sense, number one. And number two, there's so much useless information or irrelevant to you information in there that after about a minute of reading, you're like, all right, I don't even care about this anymore. I'll just wait for somebody else to tell me what's in this document. So it was so helpful to have all of the claims. I mean, this document is incredible. You have to go follow the trial channel on X right now and get this document. It is an incredible document. The trial channel, thank you so much for all that you do. I don't know if you're just like inherently gifted in terms of your organizational ability, but I need you because I am not. In case you haven't figured it out, I am the worst ever at organization, and you know, all of the details is absolutely not my strength, as so many of you, I'm sure, know and help me with all the time. All of you. You guys help me so much with the details. So I cannot tell you how grateful I am for you. So if you haven't checked this out, it is so helpful. Here, I can show you. I'll pull it up so you guys can see. If you haven't seen this document, I'll give you an opportunity to take a quick look. Here it is. There it is. So you can see that it has like the complaint or the stated, I guess, fact as per the O'Keefe claim. And then you have Karen Reed's answer sort of perfectly laid out next to the claim. Now, some of it is like her address is literally one of the boxes under claims, and she puts denied. So essentially they put the old address as her address, and so she has to deny that. So it's not a very sexy or exciting document, but it's definitely worth taking a look at if you just want to be up to date, up to speed on what's going on in the civil case. We should start taking like bets on when this case actually goes to trial. Like, will it be 2027? Like, right? Like, will Aiden be charged with another crime from, the Norfolk County DA's office before Karen Reed's civil case actually makes it to court? I don't know. But that, it seems, just from what everybody's saying, listening to the lawyer, listening to Melanie, listening to Bettero, it seems like, according to everybody, this could go on for a very long time. And remember, we still don't know whether Karen's going to be allowed, right, to bring her motion into the O'Keefe motion, which means, I guess, she'd have to then, after this, or while this is also happening, file another civil case. Can you do that? I guess you could. You could have multiple civil cases playing out. I don't know. I can't imagine that could be healthy, though. I worry about Karen Reed. I'm, as like a in a sister way, I worry that I don't know who could take this. I mean, I was sitting there listening in that opening civil argument, whatever that hearing was, listening to that lawyer for the plaintiff argue that Karen Reed intentionally tried to harm John O'Keefe's niece. I mean, I don't know how you're Karen Reed and you sit in that courtroom and you just sit there. I would not be able to do that. She's a better person than I am. I would never be able to do it. I wouldn't be able to be there. I'd have to have headphones on or something, because how absurd is that argument? Right? I mean, have you ever heard anything so absurd in your life that Karen Reed intentionally tried to harm Kaylee, waking her up at 4 a.m. to tell her that John is dead, just to hurt her? And anybody who is being honest with themselves and just looks at the facts of this case, I mean, if you're being honest with yourself, there's no way to look at the facts of this case and not see that she was in an absolute state of hysteria. Like, you don't have to like Karen Reed. You don't have to think that she's innocent, but she was hysterical. I mean, there's no way around that, right? No way. No way around that. Literally, even the testimony of Jennifer McCabe and Carrie Roberts could be brought in to the trial to show that she was essentially delusional, thinking that she had period blood all over her, sitting in the cop car after John was, as he's being wheeled onto the ambulance. Right? She was not, wanting to sit there and pray. And what was Karen Reed talking about in that cop car, according to Carrie Roberts and Jennifer McCabe? She was worried about the kids. She was worried about those kids. Please take care of the kids. So, I mean, I just don't see how the O'Keefe claims. I personally cannot imagine how these O'Keefe claims have any merit whatsoever. Based on, if you took all of the testimony from the defense in the Karen Reed second trial, took all of it out, and just took the testimony from the Commonwealth, that alone would essentially render the arguments that the O'Keefes are making null and void, because she was absolutely hysteria. Absolutely hysteria. Yes, correct. So that is the big question. I may not have made that clear, but the big question, well, why was John's it's like absurd. It's like a bad joke, right? Because everybody, and part of the reason why, and I know it wasn't intentional on the part of the medical examiner. I really believe she was trying to do the right thing. But by putting John out in the snow, and this is why Jennifer McCabe is Googling house long to die in the cold, because they have to figure out a way to make it look like he slipped and fell, hit his head and froze to death, or like he got hit with a plow or by a car and they don't know how he got there. They have to make it look like an accident of some kind happens and he essentially, dies as a result of that event. But that's why she's looking at house long to die in the cold, because she's trying to figure out. I mean, it's brilliant. And I think it was very intentional. They knew. See, this is why Brian Albert couldn't come out of his house. Brian Albert couldn't come out of his house to help John O'Keefe because, as a very well-trained and skilled first responder, he would have known John was dead. So he couldn't come out and help, because then he would know that John is dead. And the way that they avoided that was by pretending they were all sleeping. This way, none of them are the ones on the scene that have to be presented with the dilemma of whether or not to declare this a dead person. So instead, all of the brilliant first responders that dealt with the situation at 34 Fairview, right? Apparently, because of the fact that there is a rule, and they would have all known this, right? Higgins, Albert, they would have known that I think it's a law, certainly medical training and first responders know that if somebody is found frozen in frozen water or in like the snow, you're not allowed to call them, because there are cases where people unfreeze and come back to life after having been, quote, dead, after their heart allegedly stops for like a half hour. So they didn't call him at the scene as having passed. And they wouldn't, because of what I just said. You can't. So Jennifer McCabe is looking up house long to die in the cold because of what I just said, right? Like, they're trying to figure out, like, how long is it going to take? What's the best way to call this in? Should we call it in? Should we stage it this way or that way? But they all knew that, or at least the House would have known, that because they are first responders, they would have known that they wouldn't be able to call a person who's left out in the cold as a dead body until it gets to the hospital. But these cops at 7 a.m., 7 a.m., Brian Tully gets a call from Yuri Buchanan, 7 a.m. Brian Tully gets a call from Yuri Buchanan saying a police officer, despite whatever Buchanan lies and says on the stand, because this is coming from Tully. He says he gets a call, he says, I got a call at 7 a.m. that I would never get. I would never get a call on a weekend at 7 in the morning during a snowstorm and come out of my house to do anything unless or because this is a police officer. And Buchanan wanted to make Tully aware of the situation as soon as possible. And that is what happened. So at that time, they knew he was dead. 7 a.m. Buchanan calls Tully and says, we have a police officer who is dead or will be dead any second, very soon, who was found on the lawn at 34 Fairview. So they find him at 6 a.m. and by 7 a.m., he's pronounced. And that's because after waiting the half hour that they were supposed to wait, he did not come back. And at that point, there was nothing more they could do. But the truth is, his temperature, his body temperature, had dropped to hypothermic temperatures because he was dead. He wasn't hypothermic, he was dead body. And again, this is all like minutia. You know, look, trial testimony can be utterly painfully boring, and Dr. La Posada does an amazing job of making incredibly boring information at least somewhat interesting. She really does. She's engaging and she's so smart, and the way she's like bossing Hank around, it's like she's a bright star in the sky, right? A highlight for sure. But she says a lot, and you have to really listen carefully to her because her testimony was groundbreaking. She wasn't even just like the icing on the cake. I mean, she was a bulldozer that, even on top of the crash daddies, who are obviously just brilliant scientists and just, good human beings. Thank God, because if they had any flaws at all in their character, Hank Brennan would have found some way to shred Dan Wolfe. If he could have, he would have. But he couldn't, because Dan is just that kind of guy, right? He's just not shreddable because he's just a good person, like a nice, good human who gets off on potato launchers, right? Just who he is. But Dr. La Posada was a boss, and she came in with more experience, so much experience that the judge hell-bent on not allowing her to testify as an expert in dog bites, had to let her testify that those wounds were from an animal, because for an hour, it's literally like 46 minutes, all she does is testify to her experience. I mean, that's all she does. It's like, I actually did time it. I think it's 46 minutes. She just talks about her experience and like her training and experience. This woman is like the most experienced person on the planet, and it just would have made, as bad as Judge Cannoni looked throughout the entire trial, this would have just been that much more egregious, because some of the witnesses for the Commonwealth, not letting her testify as an expert would have been absurd at that point. She's just was so clearly the expert in the room, right? So yeah, I mean, he was dead. And like I said, if you're not sure about that, definitely go listen to Jennifer McCabe's 911 call. I can't believe I missed it. It took me, man, I don't even know, a year and a half. A long time before I gave that 911 call the time and attention it deserves, because it is one of the more telling 911 calls. Maybe not, if not like the most telling 911 call you're going to hear. It's up there. But yes, she tries to tell the 911 dispatch on 3 different occasions that John is dead. So 3 different ways. 10:30, I gotta go make sure that my little girl is sleeping, because I'm sure she's loving that mom is not able to go check on her right now. So I think what I'm gonna do, maybe I'll put up a poll like in the next couple of days and ask you guys which which transcript to go through next, but I will absolutely be not finishing up, but highlighting to you some of the big flaws in the Wendy Adelson interrogation interview. I mean, it's not really an interrogation. It was basically a layup. I mean, she just talks at the investigator and he believes her. In fact, at one point, the person that is interviewing Wendy Adelson, okay, actually says to her, and she laughs out loud, "Well, I think if you were really guilty of this, you would have told me by now." And she actually is like, "Ha! Swear to God, true story. That actually happens." She's like, like it's so absurd to her that she actually cannot help, has a visceral laughing reaction to him saying that. But this, I don't know. Sometimes you just see something differently. And I went back and I watched this again, and all I could see is that this woman is the most, like, obviously overly guilty person. And this investigator just absolutely misses it. Like, he falls for like the pretty girl, little girl, blue eyes, like bing, 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 hook, line, and sinker. I don't even know what to say. I was going to say it's pretty remarkable, but it isn't. It's just absurd. So I'm putting that together. That will be out soon. I'm trying to figure out how long to make that video because I don't want it to be long, but that is a 6-hour long interview. And so it's tough to know what to pull. So I'm working on the editing for that, but maybe what I'll do is I'll put up a poll about, it sounds like people according to the trial channel, it sounds like people want to see Brian Higgins. Maybe I'm underestimating the interest in him, but sounds like it, right? I don't know. I'll put up a poll and ask you guys what you think. Everybody, you guys are amazing. Can I just tell you, for some reason, my chat is frozen, but you guys are amazing. I am so eternally grateful to every one of you, each and every one of you, for being here with me, for hanging out with me. Melanie Little is amazing. I am so blessed to be able to hang out with her and ask her questions, and hopefully we'll get to do it again soon. Denise is like the greatest mod the world has ever seen. If you haven't, press the like button. Everybody like and subscribe right now. And I will absolutely 100% be here next Wednesday night at 10. But who knows? Maybe we'll be here a different time too. And we have to book our next members only call. So be on the lookout for some kind of an announcement with the date of when that is going to be, because that is coming up soon. Everyone, enjoy the rest of your Wednesday night, and I will see everybody soon. Bye, you guys. Bye, everybody.
Defense counselor's duty to protect the rights of the individual, as it is the prosecution's duty to uphold and defend the laws of the state. Justice for all. Only we have a problem here.
I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities. I see the world through eyes covered in ink and bleach. Cross out the ones who heard my cries and watched me weep. I love everything. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright.